Welcome back to another episode of
Family Meeting.
This is Family Meeting, the discussion-based portion of our podcast. As always, my name is Matt Glass.
And I'm AJ Tenari.
I feel like it's weird to say as always because that's usually like an ending thing.
Mm-hmm. It's fine because this episode is quite unorthodox.
That's true. That's very, very true. We also don't give a shit about like flow on these episodes.
That's also true.
So that me saying that wasn't aside, like off the record, but we can keep it on the record.
Yeah,
we're going to say a lot of things on the record tonight that are going to probably. I don't even know. Change my overall opinion of both of us probably as I'm editing
probably
this.
all the family heads of us.
So AJ and I have been in talks for I want to say a year at this point about doing a possible drunk episode of the family album in some capacity, and I think we at one point wanted to do album review.
Yeah.
But then we decided, I think, due to the time frame of our bulk recording sessions, and then also just sort of like how important like the actual music talk is.
Yeah.
We were kind of thinking like, I don't know if we want to like
do that in that state.
Yeah.
We wouldn't really do it justice.
And also, if we like hated the album, then who knows what the fuck we'll say about it.
Exactly.
It might be more than she deserves, you know?
Me too, Matt.
Were you actually about to say that?
Yeah.
But we are going to do a little bit of an experiment, I guess.
Yes.
Because we're going to do it talking about something that we both collectively enjoy, and that is the band Ween.
Yes, a band that is near and dear to both of our hearts. One of our favorite bands of all time. I believe it's your favorite band of all time.
They are definitely up there. I love them so much that I took a break from them so that I wouldn't stop loving them.
And hey, that's completely fair. I understand.
Like, I don't want to ever be sick of their music, so I was like, I need to stop listening so that one day when I really need them most,
they will come and save the day.
Exactly. When the Fire Nation attacks. But we figured we would have a nice little
little preview, little warning.
A nice little and also record the intro in advance because
who knows what we'll say.
Yeah, I don't think we'd be cohesive enough to actually record a real intro. We can try to record an intro.
I think that'd be fun too.
See that. I'm sure we'll have
and then
to
you can compare them.
We're gonna have to start the show off somehow.
Yeah.
But this is us sober and with the snap of my fingers,
you will hear us talk about our Ween Retrospective Drunk.
In 3, 2, 1. I love Taron Egerton as Elton John. You know?
That sounds like it's gonna peak a little bit, so just the classic go back.
Yeah, I'll go back.
Yeah, but I think we're chilling.
I would like Elton John to play Taron Egerton. Thank you very much.
It'd be like a full circle moment.
And Man Rocket.
And Baby Driver 2.
Man Rocket.
Sorry, that was a bad one.
It was a bad
Anyone
one.
want to see my Man Rocket?
AJ, I don't know about you, but in Pokemon, I play Team Rocket. I don't know if you know that.
You play Team Rocket? You play all Team Rocket?
I do.
Are you Jesse and also James?
In the flesh.
Damn.
Jesse James.
Jesse James. Who
Bang,
the fuck is Jesse James?
into the room.
That's Jesse James. I'm thinking of Kevin James.
Oh, great.
Okay. Welcome back to another episode of... My name's Matt Glass.
And I'm AJ Tenari.
And this is Family Meeting, the show where me and AJ talk about some shit, and we try our best not to think about the fact that this will be the poorest of the edited portions of our podcast.
Exactly. And I think this episode especially will stand out in that regard. Sorry, Matt just flipped off a random stranger that walked by the studio.
I think she can wear a jacket the same color as mine.
That's just absurd. That's just insulting. Also, we have
Where the fuck are you going?
As I was saying, this episode is going to be a little kooky. Matt and I are very inebriated, and we also have a bonus host with us today on today's episode, Logan Fogarty, returning guest.
Usually I board up, but Logan is a much more responsible male than I am.
Yes.
And I did not trust myself to be on the board, so I'm in Tom's seat, actually.
Whoa, how does that feel?
It feels pretty good, AJ.
Oh my god, it's starting.
Ninja Sex Party, it's great.
Matt, no! But Matt, we are inebriated for a reason. What is that reason?
Well, AJ and I wanted to do an inebriated episode for a very long time, and we figured if we're gonna get inebriated, we might as well be in a good mood and talk about something we really like, and that is Ween!
Ween, one of our favorite bands of all time.
Probably my current favorite band of all time. So much of a favorite that I actually have taken a break until like right now of listening to them because I didn't want them to become sour. You know?
Yeah, don't want to get burned out on them. I totally understand.
I don't want to get burned
man.
out. I don't want to get burned out.
That'd be like so silly, man. That'd be like so stinky.
Really stinky.
Yeah, a little stinky.
Way too stinky.
So we thought that we would kind of run through all of their albums and kind of go through them, not track by track, album by album, give our kind of brief thoughts, maybe the teeny tiniest bit of history, and just like celebrate this lovely band that everyone should be listening to.
AJ got me really into Ween.
I did do that.
I've listened to them for a whole summer, and they're probably like my favorite band right now. So I want to capitalize on this moment in my life and honestly just say how much I appreciate their stuff.
Exactly, and I think that is very achievable on tonight's episode. There's going to be a lot of love in the room, and a lot of love of Ween in the room.
But anyway, AJ.
Yeah.
Where did Ween start? Where'd they come from?
Where did Ween begin? So there are two versions of Ween's backstory. There's the canon version, which is the lore version, and then the actual boring history. I'll tell the actual boring history because that's what I wrote down because I'm silly. So, Aaron Freeman and Mickey Melchiondo, the founding members of Ween, met in junior high in a typing class in 1984. And they bonded over their love of music. And also, a little fun fact, Ween is a combination of the words wuss and penis, for all you curious out there.
I knew that.
See, Matt knows his Ween, and I like that. But anyway, while they were in high school, they made self-produced tapes, and they distributed them among their peers, and also cars with open windows. And they got discovered... They got discovered after a rep from Twin Tone Records saw them open for a band called Skunk, leading to the release of their debut album, God, Ween, Satan, the Oneness, in 1990.
I will say, and I know we're about to do the not track by track. We're not doing that.
No, we're not doing that.
I did listen to at least quite a few of the albums that they have, and I did listen to all of God, Ween, Satan again, and yeah.
Shall we dive into our thoughts then? Just dive right in?
You know what? Why not?
Hell yeah. So God, Ween, Satan, the Oneness was an album I listened to pretty late in my Ween career.
Same here.
I didn't like it at first, but upon like further re-listens, I definitely appreciated it more, and it's like right on the cusp of my top 5, but not quite there.
I think it's definitely like the quintessential, like if you want to learn about the Ween lore, this is where you do so.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Like literally the track Up on the Hill explains it all about how Jeaner and Diener, that is... Jeaner is Aaron Freeman, the vocalist of Ween, and Diener is Mickey Melchiondo, the guitarist of Ween. And basically, in canon, they made a deal with the demon god Bugnish to give them musical powers in order to achieve wealth and power, but in exchange, they would spread the word of the Bugnish through their music so that people would kind of get inducted into this cult that is Ween.
Yeah, and a cult a cult it truly is, AJ, if I do say so myself.
A cult I am proud to be a part of.
No, me too. I mean, seeing them live, it was like paying tribute.
Exactly, and we're seeing them live pretty soon as well.
I forgot we're seeing them live.
Seeing them live in September. Actually, and also, I guess another reason we want to do this episode, it's the 30th anniversary of Chocolate and Cheese, their 4th studio album, and we're actually seeing it on the day of their anniversary, September 27th.
It's pretty fucking amazing.
We're psyched for it.
I'm so excited. I haven't paid AJ back. That's how excited I am.
I know, and I'm so happy about that. I can't wait to not be paid for this show with the 6 people we're going with.
That's how excited I am about Chocolate and Cheese anniversary.
But we're not talking about Chocolate and Cheese just yet.
Just yet. Wait. Don't fucking do the time skip. I know you do what is it?
The Static Effect.
Not the Static.
Which is also from a Ween album, a little known fact. That's from a pod track called Pollo Asado.
Not Static Effect. It's either do on YouTube, either do L or I think it's K. You skip 30 seconds.
Oh, I see.
Yeah,
I don't know that.
Don't fucking do that, okay?
No,
listen to this whole thing.
There's good shit in store. God, I swear, there's good shit in store.
I'm not gonna say that. There's shit for sure, but I wouldn't say there's good shit in store.
We'll see.
We have a lot of thoughts.
Anyway.
And that's all that matters.
God, Ween, Satan. Matt, what are your thoughts?
What are my thoughts? I'm going to tell you some tracks that I like and some tracks that I don't. Actually, no, just tracks that I like.
Okay. Yeah.
In order, the tracks that I like off of God, Ween, Satan, You Fucked Up.
Classic.
I fucking love that song.
It perfectly sets the tone for the album, and I fucking adore it.
I love Tick.
Tick is
awesome. I saw it live.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys fucking know that. I saw it live. Okay?
Guys, be known, Matt of the Family album did see Tick live. Add that to the wiki.
I will tell you, I really wish I saw I Got a Weasel live, because that song fucking slaps.
It does. It doesn't deserve to, but it fucking does.
Fat Lenny is also one that I love.
Iconic. It's a classic in the Ween lore.
Cold and Wet. The Cold and Wet to the Bumblebee Part 1 and 2, and I quite enjoyed
it's
that.
It's a really interesting suite you wouldn't expect, but it kind of works.
Now, I want to ask you a question, AJ.
What's that, Matt?
So, Bumblebee is all like, Diener, let me in. I gotta go in. It's cold outside.
That's part 2. Bumblebee part 2.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah.
Fire me. Fire me.
All right, Logan. You're my new co-host now.
I'm glad.
Better study up on Ween.
I was waiting for my application to actually get approved.
I'm tangled up in blue. And I don't know if you know this, but I only want to be with you.
Well, guys, if you saw that episode, if you saw Logan's guest episode, that's really good payoff.
The only 2 things on my application, my resume, you know.
Exactly. Tangled up in blue. Only want to be with you. Anyway, keep going, Matt. What are some other your favorite tracks?
I love Cold and Wet through Bumblebee Part 1 and 2.
Nice.
Don't Laugh, I Love You.
Oh, I fucking love that track.
I did not used to like it, but I really like it.
I think the only bad part is like the outro where they just start like spitting into the mic.
They do all that shit.
Literally that.
I wish you could have seen me right now with the audience. It was hot as fuck.
It was really cool.
There was spit that just landed all over my laptop.
And all over my tongue, which I'm so mad about. Oh my god. But anyway, I really do like that track. It's like very Beatlesy, but like really classic. Besides that outro, it's a very good sentiment. I like it a lot.
I would agree. And then the last 2 that I really like are Up on the Hill and Nicole.
Yeah.
Up on the Hill is one that I love really like a lot, but Nicole is a track that I love so much.
Mm-hmm.
Nicole, it's funny. I tried to play it on the radio once. And I can't do that.
You're not allowed to do that.
On FCC guidelines, it's not allowed.
No.
I don't know if you guys knew that.
You can't say the C word on the radio, from what I hear.
You can't say cunt on the radio, is what I'm trying to say.
Well, you can say it on a podcast.
I can say it right now.
That's true. It's our God-given right.
That's going to be the only time I say it, because frankly, I kind of feel bad when I say the word. It's not my word.
He's quoting it.
It's not my word.
He's quoting it.
But here's the thing about this, AJ.
Yeah.
As you can tell, if you are looking through the discography in your mind, AJ.
My mind's eye.
Just think about it, right?
Yeah.
All the tracks that I love are in the beginning.
That's true.
And I think that kind of stands for my overall
enjoyment
thoughts of the album. Because here's the deal. You're panning for gold.
No.
And then you
well,
start...
I'm editing this, so this is all you. Go
oh,
off.
shit. I'm not going to edit this. Future Matt, you are not editing this, okay? But you're not panning for gold. Don't pan for gold.
God, I swear to God, if you pan for gold again.
AJ's gonna spank you. But anyway.
It's
true. Here's the thing. I'm gonna tell you what I wrote. Yeah. I wrote a thing so that my dumbass right now can read what sober Matt wanted to say. I do like the variety.
Yes.
You know, I really, really like it. And this is honestly one of the funniest albums I've ever listened to. If you go from beginning to end, it's like, oh my God.
There's so many gems in there.
There were some parts where I legitimately actually laughed.
Yeah.
Which is great.
It's awesome, dude.
There were some parts where I legitimately laughed.
Tell me about the fucking bitch, Gina!
Let me in, Gina! Oh man! He's like screaming his ass off, right? And the energy is insane. However, it is ungodly long. But here's the thing: it's a collection album.
That's true.
It's a collection of all the stuff they performed live all the time.
Yeah, all the stuff they made in high school. It's basically all like a kind of like a greatest hits compilation of all their tapes.
I'll give the album credit though. It's a great album if you're bored. You know what I mean?
That's true.
Like as an active listen, the pacing is a little insane.
Yeah.
But hey, listen, there's stuff to pick out all across the board.
A lot of good stuff. You can see where they're gonna go in the future.
Yeah, no, without a doubt. But there's no middle ground in terms of pacing. It's either kind of calm or like, whoo, up in the air.
Exactly.
Holy shit, I'm sorry, audience. Let's have a candid moment. I'm sorry. But anyway,
That was beautiful.
you're welcome. You're welcome. I'm here all week, but it's got no, not really. I'm only here every Tuesday at like 11 a.m. because that's when we upload these.
Matt only exists in your consciousness when you hear him. That is true. We are all AI in this studio.
Yes. It's got a lot of really good content, but I think the album can only be taken in small bursts. If you want me to be completely honest, I think out of all the albums that they have, this one's honestly the most funny. And I love the fact that they took a lot of these fun live performances and then just made them into a giant collection.
Yeah.
Because let me tell you, that's fucking ballsy.
I know,
Their
man.
first album is a
Yeah.
collection album.
I mean, I think it makes sense considering how Ween started out. They kind of had like, I guess they kind of had this, I guess, established following within their community, and they're basically kind of like just throwing all like the stuff that was like really popular, like that they really liked into one album, and then the rest is history.
The rest is in fact history. This is the crunchiest of the crunch.
Oh, absolutely.
The brownest of the brown.
Not quite.
Well, kinda, yeah.
Of the Brown trilogy, I'd say this is definitely the cleanest, I would say. Especially because they use an actual drum kit.
You know what? You're right. You're right.
Thank you.
You're actually right. I forgot about that. This is the crunch.
Sorry, I was doing hand motions as he accented his speech. It was very funny.
This is the crunchiest of the crunch, though.
It is.
It's crunchy, but you kind of get a vibe for it. You
Exactly. Yeah, it's very
You know?
juvenile, very angsty, but it's very much a vibe.
know? You really fucked up.
Yeah,
I'm so sorry, family heads.
it's okay, Matt. Kiss him to say I'm sorry.
No, they don't want to hear that.
Okay, that's only I can kiss.
All right,
That's my
true.
thing.
That's true. Peace. We just ended the episode. All right, Logan,
All right,
cut
good
it,
sesh.
Cut it, Logan. No, I'm kidding. But I do like this album. However, in the grand echelon that is Ween, C+.
C+. Okay, so I actually really grew an appreciation for this album. It's very raw, just in terms of sound and just pure energy and chaos and just like angst, which I really respect, especially considering they were like fresh out of high school recording this.
Yes.
You definitely get a sense for their style from the get-go. There's a lot of humor. It's very eclectic. There's a lot of cool genre-bendy stuff. Yes, Matt?
The going does get tough from the get-go.
We're not there yet.
Fuck. All right, I'll
Not
see you guys
quite.
later. I unplugged my headphones.
Sorry, Matt's going back into his homunculus chamber. But anyway, even though it is a kind of a compilation album, I feel like it still has very nice album flow, and it is one of their longest albums, tied with The Pod if you count the anniversary edition with the bonus 3 tracks, which I quite like a lot.
The bonus 3 tracks are fun.
But 29 songs, that's a lot for an album. Even though about like most of them are like 2 minutes or less, it's still kind of a chore to get through.
It's a little pink, you know?
It is a
it's-
little
it's very
pink.
It's actually very pink.
It is very pink, but like literally. But there's a lot of good shit on here. As Matt said, Fat Lenny, You Fucked Up, Don't Laugh, I Love You, LMLYP, dude, that's an iconic track.
I will say that one is a good one, but I like the other ones a lot more.
I gotcha.
feel like that one's more like one where if like I'm feeling it on like a Thursday, feeling good on a Wednesday.
Dude, I can listen to that track forever. I love LMLYP.
I love Lord.
Marble Tulip, Juicy Tree fucking rips. I love El Camino. Hippie Smells, another favorite of mine. Tick Rules. There's a lot of variety in here, and you can really kind of see the styles they're choosing. Like, there's a lot of punk, there's a lot of psych rock, there's some gospel, really emphasis on the punk kind of stuff. And I think what's interesting here is you see the artists that they're trying to emulate a lot, like Prince, Jefferson Airplane, REM, especially on Hippie Smell. What's up?
But it's in a much more lo-fi kind of sense.
Exactly.
You know what? Like, that's the crazy thing about it. The
Yeah.
production's not nearly as good as Mr. Prince, or formerly known as Prince, if you're, depending on what decade you're listening to this in. Because we've been around for ages.
That's true. We transcend.
Like the book,
Generations.
we transcend.
Yes. But it's really interesting here, like, hearing their influences and how they interpret that to kind of put them into their own style. It's not quite their own style just yet. There's still a lot of emulation of, like, their idols, but it's still very, like, charming to hear, like, these people that really appreciate these artists kind of try to emulate what they do. And it's a lot of fun. I'd probably give this album, like, a B or a B+. Back then I probably would have given like a C, but it's like in the ranking, it's like dead center. It's pretty close to the top, but like also kind of close to the bottom.
I would agree with that.
Yeah, I do quite like Godwin Satan, but there are better albums in my opinion, and one of them is coming up next.
What is that, AJ?
That is The Pod, released September 20th, 1999, where we saw Jeaner and Diener move into an apartment to... Sorry, I can't read my handwriting. They moved into an apartment to write and record an entire album on a 4-track cassette recorder, while they also got mononucleosis, and it was a miserable experience.
And it's a great track.
Yes,
let me tell you.
Mononucleosis fucking rips. I love that track.
It's not one of my favorites, but it's a good track.
It's a good one. There's a lot of good ones on here, but there is a lot of sludge in here as well.
Sludge is a great way to describe this album.
Yeah.
But it's in the best possible way.
Exactly. I guess for those who don't know, brown is probably a word that's going to come up when we describe this album. Matt, would you like to define what brown means?
Brown means it's kind of like bad, but in a good way.
Exactly. It's charmingly bad.
And that's what this album is, and it's honestly in my top 2.
In your top 2? Wow.
I really like this album a lot.
Uh-huh.
There are some tracks on here where you get to the end and you're like, what the fuck did I just listen to?
Literally, like...
But you're also like, holy shit, these hooks are kind of fire.
Uh-huh. When it's like, it's buried under this like super grungy mix of just like, honestly, just like shit. Like it sounds very rough, but it's so charming that you just keep listening to it, especially with the ideas that they play with. Like you get like more of the genre bendy stuff, but in like a much more creative way, given the like restrictions they had on production.
Do you want to hear the tracks that I like, AJ?
I would love to hear the tracks that you like, Matt.
Well, on the pod, the crown of brown, if you will. You're going to want to strap on that jammy pack, because I love that intro.
It perfectly sets the tone for the album.
It literally, they played that live.
They did do that.
They played it live.
Many times.
Many times. They played it when we went live.
That is true.
2 Christmases
That was 2 Christmases. Holy shit, that's great. Logan, that was 2 Christmases ago. I know you weren't there, but I'm just saying, that was 2 Christmases ago.
Logan was there in spirit. Logan's omnipotent.
That's true.
Omnipotent.
Omnipotent, I believe, is the correct term.
Oh boy.
I felt like I was there, and I miss it already.
I understand, Logan.
Do you know Evan?
No.
Evan Vanderbrul.
Evan Vandenbrul of the Family album. He's a former guest.
There's an R in there.
Yeah, true. What about Evan and Matt?
He drove us.
Oh, really? Oh,
He did drive us to the venue.
I remember the car ride, yeah.
And I'm gonna tell you a story. So I remember. So here's the fun thing about the Ween concert that me and AJ and a whole gaggle of side characters went to.
All former guests, actually.
Fuck, you're right.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we went to this concert, and Evan was like, I need you to pay me back. And I said, I can't right now. So I Venmo'd him later.
That was a good story, dude. I really like that you're showing your financial responsibility on this podcast.
Yes, I am.
We're not fucking talking about financial responsibility. We're talking about The Pod by Ween. So, what the fuck are you doing, dude?
So I dropped my cable. It's in my headphones.
Uh-huh.
It always gets unplugged every single time that I'm in this broadcast.
I think The Pod is almost a top 5. It's like, it's my number 6, personally. I love The Pod. There's so much variety in tracks. The sound is so charming. You really get the vibe that they're going for of just like this hellscape that they're living in. You just fucking hear it. It's buried in like sludge and noise. It sounds really shitty and like very kind of like, I guess like muffled in terms of the mixing.
Yeah.
But it's all part of the charm and it's all part of what they're going through. You get more of a sense of their kind of a genre bending stuff. Not as much, I would say, on God Ween Satan. It kind of sticks to a more consistent tone. Put your fucking tongue in your mouth,
I'm
okay?
so sorry. I got so excited about the pod that my tongue was out.
But I quite love this album. So Matt, what are your favorite tracks?
My favorite tracks on this record, in no specific order except the album track list order, are actually Strap on That Jammy Pack, as I aforementioned before. Dr. Rock. Fun fact about Dr. Rock. I screamed, "Play Dr. Rock!" And they fucking did.
And they did.
They did not.
They did not. I saw that live at a different show. My bad. I'm
okay.
dissociating.
It's okay. It's okay. The Stallion, part 3.
That's part 1 is on this album.
Part 2. 1, 2.
1 and 2 are on this album.
1 and 2, I like part 1 more.
I agree.
To be honest with you.
Part 2 closes the album.
But I like part 1 more.
And I agree.
Logan, I like part 1 more.
I'm writing it down. I got
Good. Good. This will be on the test.
Thank you, Logan. The
Let me
Ween
tell
test.
you though, Captain Fantasy.
Banger.
Whenever you're here, I'm here.
Little fucking David Bowie glam rock. I love that shit.
It's
so
fucking amazing.
good.
You wouldn't expect it that far into the album.
Exactly.
That's what's amazing. Here's one where it's like the actual not the content, the actual like production of the song. You're like, oh, what? But like the hook is kind of fire.
Yeah.
Oh my dear, falling in love.
That one's awesome. It's very tender, very different from what we've been hearing on the album. It's kind of like a reprieve from everything we've heard, and it's really, really refreshing.
It's a little bit of a tender situation.
No, not quite.
No, it is.
Almost there.
It's aforementioned.
It's a predecessor.
And then there's a huge skip of songs where I like them, but not enough.
Yeah.
Pork Roll, Egg, and Cheese is where my favorite tracks end. But I will say, Sketches of Winkle did
Banger.
kind of grow on me, though.
Banger. I love that track.
She also fucks me, but that's it.
But that's for another podcast.
We're not going to talk about that right now.
No.
We're
That's
not going
for
to talk about who.
That's for the Matt album at night.
Yes.
Anyway, my favorite tracks are also Dr. Rock. I fucking adore that track. Such a really awesome hook, really upbeat, especially if you see it live when the crowd chants the Dr. Rock chorus. It's so fucking nice.
Modulating and articulating. That was good.
Cut that out. Other tracks include Sorry Charlie, Demon Sweat, I fuck with. Very low key, but it builds up into this really awesome kind of like breakdown.
I would agree.
Oh My Dear, again, I Must Be Falling in Love. That's a great one. Pork Roll, Egg, and Cheese is a top 10 Ween song for me. I adore that track.
When you've had your fun.
And the damage is done. I feel like it's such a nice sentiment. It's kind of, from what I've read some things where it's like after having like a night of like drinking and debauchery, it's just like going to your friend's parents' house and having them cook you up a nice breakfast, and like that's such the vibe, and I love it. It's so comforting.
I wish somebody's parents would cook me a good breakfast after tonight.
Guys, question of the week, can we come to your house and eat a nice little breakfast with you?
I'll just have to sleep in your bed while you're in it, but that's okay.
Exactly. I'd also say Captain Fantasy, Sketches of Winkle, Frank is really goofy. I saw that live. That was crazy.
I wish I saw that live.
Mononucleosis. Dude, the drum beat on Mononucleosis is fucking insane.
It's crazy.
It's so cool.
It's almost too crazy for me, but I totally understand from like a drummer's perspective why you'd like it.
Because like all this was like artificially like drums with the 4-track recording, so they could do whatever the fuck they wanted, and they like took that to the extreme on this track. It's very cool. I'd highly recommend. There's a slew of great tracks. It's definitely the longest album, so there's a lot of sludge to trudge through, but there's like a lot of hidden gems, and it's a lot of fun the more you listen to it. So I'm gonna give this like an A-. I love the pod.
Because here's the thing with the pod, right? You got Godween Satan, which is crunch, right?
Yeah.
But then you got sludge.
Yeah, dude.
Straight brown sludge.
I am so glad you fucking said this. I was trying to like figure out a word that like gets in between these things when we get to the next album. But there's, in the Brown trilogy, which is Godween Satan, the Pod, and Pure Guava, there's like essentially like a central theme in each of them. Godween Satan is angst, Pure Guava is chaos,
yes.
and the Pod is sludge. And like it's really cool, kind of like trifecta, kind of going through them. So I'm really excited to get into these thoughts. But Matt, what would you give the pod as a rating?
The pod as a rating, I gotta say, I do love it. It's very good. Like it's got a lot of sludge, but then those tracks that hit so hard.
They do, absolutely.
Like when I heard Captain Fantasy, oh my god. Whenever you're here, I'm here. That's all I'm gonna tell you.
Amen.
But the thing is, in the grand echelon, I gotta say this is probably gonna be a B+, but I'm gonna move it up to an A-.
Let's fucking go, baby.
I'm gonna move because of Mean Ween. Mean Ween is on this album.
Oh yes, so Mean Ween is a dear friend of Ween. I believe he did bass on this album.
He did do bass.
He did bass on this album.
That is correct.
Yes, I believe his real name is also Chris Williams. But he's Mean Ween in our hearts.
Yes, he is.
Before they got their kind of permanent bassist, David Drywitz, he would kind of collaborate with them a lot, and he was the unofficial third member, as well as Andrew Weiss, who did all like the mixing for a bunch of their albums.
Yes.
But yeah, there's a lot of Ween lore in there, but we're not talking about a lot of that because we're not in a state to talk about that.
No, we're not.
No,
we are not.
So I think it's probably for the best that we move on to the next album that got them a major record label contract.
Oh my fucking god, this album is so good.
I love Pure Guava so much. It's so
weird.
awesome.
It's weird, but in the best possible way, because they're kind of transitioning out of the brown phase.
Yeah.
But like, here's the thing: it's brown, but they kind of put some polish on it.
Yeah.
Not a lot of polish. The next album, they put a lot of polish on.
Yeah, but here
But this
you just
one-
kind of like sow the seeds. I feel like here the songs are more brown in terms of concept and execution.
I would agree.
Whereas the pod is more brown in terms of sound.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sonically, the pod is a lot more brown, but
Yeah.
content, it's pretty fucking brown.
Yeah, there's
here.
a lot of abstract ideas and like techniques that you wouldn't really expect. Like the guitar solo on like "Flies on My Dick" is
Oh my god, it's crazy.
yeah, like you would never think of that.
How
but
the fuck did he come up with that?
it's so stupid, but it fucking rips, which is the best part.
That's the thing. And here's the thing about Dean Ween's guitar solos, right? They only get better from here.
Yeah, dude.
That's the thing that's crazy about Dean Ween.
Like literally on the next album we'll get to.
He might be a guitarist whose guitar solos are honestly ingenious.
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy. Like, the ingenuity of how he could just work the fretboard and just think of these whack-ass ideas, but make them work.
Yeah.
Like, the next album, I'm really gonna talk about that. But, like, oh my god, Pure Guava, let me just say, I fucking love this album.
It's awesome.
I had a bit of a rough start trying to get into it, but then I heard Tender Situation, and I was like, you know what?
This is it.
This is the shit.
Yeah.
This is the shit right here.
I play it off legit.
The going gets tough from the get-go.
I love that track.
It's very good.
It's so fun.
I think I gotta lay some tracks that I like off
Yeah,
of it.
fucking spit them out, Matt. What do you got?
Well, we got some Tender Situation right here.
Yeah.
We got some The Stallion Part 3.
Dude, in my opinion, the best part of the Stallion
It is the best part of The Stallion.
quintilogy?
I would agree. The live ones are just on the fly, kind of like, you know,
Yeah.
like...
I mean, 4 and 5 are cool, but 3 is just like the best part.
Cap
It's just
it
so
off.
good. Yeah.
Fucking cap it off.
Cut it out.
David Coulier, bless me with your tutelage. Anyway, The Stallion Part 3.
Yes, banger. Love that track.
Very fucking good.
Honestly, probably top 10.
10 speed.
Probably a top 10 Ween track for me. I love that song so much.
Very good. I fucking love Push the Little Daisies.
Dude, people hate on that song because of the chipmunk voices. I don't care. It got them a fucking record deal.
No. Here's the thing, people. Let me talk to you real quick. So people who think that his chipmunk voice is good, you wish Alvin, Simon, and Theodore sounded that fucking good. Here's the thing. Ween has this amazing way of utilizing high pitch and pitch correction in their songs to set the vibe.
Yeah.
It's about setting the vibe, ladies
like-
and gentlemen of non-binary pals.
Even though it's like a very kind of standard pop hit, the way that they go about it is so unique from the stuff that was coming out at the time that it was no wonder it became a hit.
No, for real.
Yeah, like the fucking chipmunk voices, you have the really weird kind of offbeat rhythm that the whole track follows, and just like the very kind of grating chorus. It's like, it was like a recipe for success. It's so fun. It's very groovy. It's awesome. I love Push the Little Daisies as well. That was another track that really stood out to me.
I know a librarian who fucking loves that track. Just letting you know.
So, checkmate, Ween deniers.
Yeah, go fuck yourself, but I love you. Don't stop listening. But anyway.
We love you too, and Ween loves you as well.
But that's not the end of my favorite tracks, AJ.
Keep them going, Matt.
The going gets tough from the get-go.
I adore that track so fucking much. It's so good.
Here's the thing. I saw an AI cover of SpongeBob and Patrick singing that song in the left and right channel, and it honestly made me love the song even more.
It's awesome.
And it was great. I also love Pumpin' for the Man.
But yeah, even though they do say a pretty bad word, it is kind of an anthem that like the working class people can relate to.
That is very, very true.
Yeah.
And then the song I love the most is Sarah.
Sarah is phenomenal. Did you know that Sarah is part of a trilogy of tracks?
No.
So-
And now I'm gonna go listen to them.
I don't think I mentioned this, but Birthday Boy on God Means Satan.
Really?
So this is about the same person from Birthday Boy, and it's also about the same person from Baby Bitch, I believe, if that is correct.
That's crazy.
It's a really cool kind of progression of songs, especially considering how Jeaner felt at the time and how he ended up feeling. It's really kind of interesting seeing this, like, I guess, introspection that he had in this relationship.
I have a question for you.
Yes, Matt?
Have you ever looked up Sarah live?
I've not.
Have you seen how sincere Jeaner looks?
I can see it, man. Like this is a raw song.
It's just him with a guitar, and he's like, "When I found you in your sleep."
It's honestly like one of the cleanest moments on this album, and it's such a nice reprieve because it's like halfway through. It's beautiful, beautifully paced, beautifully placed, and beautifully played.
That was good.
Thank you.
That was good ass shit right there.
That was smooth.
I found our reel. I fucking found it.
There it is. Mark it.
No. Here's the thing about Pure Guava. Pure Guava is when they kind of are like, oh yeah, it's brown, but the thing is, it's kind of a vibe though.
Yeah,
It's
literally.
it's a pretty fucking good vibe.
It is a good vibe. I fucking love Sarah.
And
Great
Sarah,
track.
you get to Sarah, and here's the deal. Sarah is right. It's kind of like, I'd say like a little bit in the end half of the middle,
Yeah.
you know?
Mm-hmm.
And here's the thing.
Yes, Matt.
It's such a nice calm moment. It's such a calm moment that it has 3,112,221 views.
I didn't know that on Spotify.
And they're all from me because I fucking love this song.
I don't blame you. This song fucking rules. It's one of the most tender moments on this album, and it's very well earned.
I almost put a guitar cover of this on my Instagram.
Dude, you should do it.
You know what? Maybe I will.
I'm gonna put a like on that just for you.
Thanks, AJ. At
course,
least someone will like it.
Yeah, Logan, what the fuck?
God fucking damn it, Logan.
I'll comment,
This guy sucks!
Better be
No, I'll comment. I'm not
damn
liking this
straight.
video.
So anyway, Sarah is like of the last few, but I will say, one that I did not mention that I don't know why I didn't put on my list. Morning Glory.
Dude, Morning Glory is a trip and a half. Holy
It's a
fuck.
trip and a half. But
Definitely the most brown track on the album.
when I used to play Left 4 Dead 2, I used to listen to this song a lot.
Really?
Fucking lot.
That's insane.
It's pretty fucking
All
crazy.
5 minutes?
Yes.
God damn. Dude, so, for those who don't know, Morning Glory is essentially a 5-minute story about a pumpkin that is completely drowned out in production techniques that makes it just completely peak and sound unlistenable. But it is very charming. I cannot imagine listening to that on a daily basis, though. I exclusively listen to this track when I listen to the full album.
Let me just say for the record, I didn't listen to this on a daily basis. Only when I
When
played
you play Left 4 Dead 2.
When I played Left 4 Dead 2.
Gotcha.
But Morning Glory, I did enjoy it.
It's a good one. It's fun.
I did enjoy
It's
it.
probably it encapsulates like their humor the most, I'd say, on this album. I mean, there's a lot of good moments on there, like "Pumping for the Man" and "Touch My Tutor." But like this is definitely kind of up there in terms of humor.
I will say though, as like an outro though for this record, because we were kind of talking about this record as a whole, Poop Ship Destroyer.
Yeah.
It kind of goes hard.
So I think, dude, have you seen like any of the live versions where it's like 16 minutes and up?
No.
That shit's fucking insane. They usually play it to like punish an audience for bad behavior. It's really funny.
Here's the deal with Ween, guys. AJ didn't mention this, but I will, because I love you, right?
Yeah, I don't love you. I'm sorry, family heads.
It's okay. Tom loves you even less.
That's true.
That's all you have to look forward to.
Yeah.
But here's the deal. Ween live performances of their songs are hell of a lot different than how you hear them
Yeah.
studio-wise.
Especially the Brown stuff.
And that's the fun part.
Yeah. Like,
That's the
dude,
fun part.
Touch My Tutor live fucking rips. I love that track live. The studio version's like pretty good too, but like the live version, it just like completely dwarfs the studio version. It's awesome.
I looked up a version of I Saw Jeaner Crying in
Yeah.
his sleeve, and it's honestly like really funny.
Dude, like they're such good performers. If you haven't seen a Ween concert, I'd highly recommend. They're awesome performers. They always like cater to the audience. It's like a 3-hour show minimum. Like you will have a great time. It's so fun.
I did. It honestly ignited my love of the band, and I loved it. It was very, very good. But
Hell
AJ,
yeah.
can I tell you my thoughts on the overall album?
Go for it, dog.
Well, even though this one is like this isn't the end of the Brown era. I'd say like next one is probably the
Yeah.
end of the Brown era.
This is like the transition between Brown to Polish.
But this is the beginning of the Polish,
Exactly.
right?
Yeah.
And it has a lot of really fun, like upbeat beats, but then it also has some gentle turns.
Uh-huh.
And you kind of vibe with it, though.
Yeah, dude. There's even some like darker moments in there too, which fucking rules.
It's the purest of guava.
Dare I say?
I love all the tracks. Genuinely, I really
Yeah.
love all the tracks. Sarah is one that I fucking like. I was gonna say Sarah is one that I fucking bang with, but that feels kind of weird.
No, you can't say that. You can't say that on air.
I can't say that on air.
No,
I
no,
can't.
no.
Sarah. Oh, I can't say Sarah fucking bangs either.
Sarah rips.
AJ dabbed into the microphone.
I didn't do that. That's not true.
No,
You're
it's
lying.
true. I saw it with my
lying.
fucking eyes.
You're a fucking liar,
I
Matt.
saw it with my fucking eyes, ladies and gentlemen, and non-binary pals.
Dabbing in his sleep.
Just don't get too close, AJ, with that dab.
I understand. I'm sorry.
Just don't want to happen again.
Continue. Sarah.
Sarah's really fucking good.
Sarah is good.
I really like the way that it kind of just like articulates this person caring for this other person.
Mm-hmm.
And I love it. And the live versions are even better.
Yep.
But I think like you got these high energy tracks that make you feel all sunny and stuff. You know what I mean? But then there are these really sincere ones that are kind of strange but good.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of this nice happy mix between like the pod and then the next album.
Yeah.
That's kind of what it feels like.
Mm-hmm.
This album is weird and I fucking love it, and everybody should listen to it on their end half of their Ween starter journey.
Agreed.
I will announce to you where you should start your Ween journey.
Yeah. We'll do
I
like a
think
little listening order towards the end.
there is a listen. Do not listen to this in chronological order.
No, absolutely
No,
not.
Absolutely the fuck not. You gotta work your way back.
Yeah.
This is an A+.
Dude, I fucking love Pure Guava. I completely agree. It's my number 5 album in Ween's discography. There's just like such creative concepts. They execute so well. There's not as much genre bendy stuff on here, but even when they do, on tracks like Reggae Junkie Jew and like I guess even Morning Glory kind of counts. It always pays off. It's very abstract, very unique, and very creative. And I always love revisiting this album because there's so much to dissect and explore. Especially on the more kind of like darker tracks, like I saw Diener crying in his sleep. Like it's stuff you wouldn't expect from this early in their career, but it pays off, and it's kind of cool, like as they kind of sow the seeds for the future. My favorite tracks include Push the Little Daisies. People who don't like it, you're fucking stinky. It got them a record label, and I
so
fucking love
good.
it.
What are you talking
It's
about?
fun. I love Push the Little Daisies.
It's so fucking like you got this like weird bossa nova beat.
Yeah.
But like it works.
It rips. It's so fun.
A librarian likes it, ladies and gentlemen of non-binary pals.
That's true.
What more do you want?
You can't dissuade a librarian. I've tried.
Yeah, he's tried and it didn't work.
Don't Get Too Close to My Fantasy. I love it. It's a classic like David Bowie kind of spoof.
It did remind me of David Bowie.
Yeah, just with the voices. Going Get Stuff from the Get-Go is so fun. It's such a creative like idea, and they pull it off so well. Just like these two kind of MCs just talking about how life sucks.
No, for real.
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
Stallion Part 3 is a top 10 Ween track. I love this like psychedelic rock kind of style.
It's quintessential Ween.
Literally. Sarah, we kind of talked at length about that, but it's iconic. I really like Spring Theme.
It's underrated. I will say
Spring
it
Theme
is
very
very
underrated.
underrated.
Big Jilm is a classic. I love Big Jilm. It's like kind of like country rock track about this dude who I think Diener's dad worked with.
I don't know the history of it, but I wish I liked that track more. But hey, listen, it's obviously good. It's got 1,205,073 listens.
Yeah, it's one of their most kind of like famous early songs.
It's the biggest of all the Jilms, okay?
Exactly. He is in fact a big Jilm. But I love that track, and also Touch My Tutor. Seeing that live is fucking awesome. I love that track.
I wish I saw it live.
And
I
I'd give this a solid A tier. I love Pure Guava. Very good album.
It's so fucking good.
It's something you would never expect to hear, but they craft it so well.
We should also tell them the listening order. We should try to determine a listening order at some
do you
point.
want to get to, I think we'll say that for the end.
Yeah, that's what I mean, like for the end. But
totally.
like this is definitely toward the end of the listening order.
Yeah, it's definitely towards the back half. So after they got their major record label debut with Pure Guava, they moved on to probably like one of their most defining albums of their career, Chocolate and Cheese, released September 27th, 1994. This album fucking rules. They struck a hit with Push the Little Daisies, and that's what got them a contract with Elektra Records, and it really moved them to a more polished, mature kind of sound that really kind of saw them come into their own a little more, rather than emulating the artists that influenced them. It kind of saw them genre bend, but in a way that's unique to their own.
And dare I say, AJ, that the pacing on this album is unmatched.
Yes, this album is awesome, front to back.
Like the other ones, you have like a little fun time.
Yeah.
But then this one, you have a fun time, and it's paced brilliantly.
Like all the way through. I say there's like one skip on here, but in comparison to like the last three, there's like some. It's probably the best. It's definitely better than the Brown era, but it's still got like a couple little flaws, still some growing pains.
I adore this album.
I agree. This album is fantastic.
I can't wait to see it live.
Exactly. On the day it was fucking released. I'm so excited for that.
That's fucking amazing. Can we get some applause? Can we get some applause, Future Matt?
Can we get some applause for Future Matt?
You edit everything the day of its release. Can
That's true.
Can we get some future applause?
Like the least you could do.
Yeah, really. What the fuck are you doing? Everything? Well, do more.
That's true.
Anyway,
Thank you, Past Matt.
So anyway, Chocolate and Cheese is very good. And let me say, a sensational album cover.
Agreed.
If you do
it's kind of iconic.
It kind of is iconic.
Yeah, it's a woman who has like a top that is barely covering her breasts, and she's wearing a belt that says Ween, with the Boognish logo in front of it. It's awesome.
With no pants.
With no pants.
I like this album, AJ.
I fucking love this album. This is my top 3. I adore this album. It kind of switches out between this and an album we'll get to later for like the number 2 and 3 spots. But I love this album. I love coming back to it. This was the album that really solidified my love for Ween.
Yeah.
Because I first listened to The Mollusk and I liked it.
We had the same journey.
Yeah.
We're the same person.
But like once I listened to Chocolate and Cheese, like it clicked in my brain. I was like, okay, it's cool to like weird things, and I like this, so this is awesome. And I have a very soft spot in my heart for this album. I quite like it.
I think everything but like maybe 1 or 2 tracks are like my favorite. Like I have all of these pretty much downloaded on my
They're all good.
Mega Ween playlist.
You really see them like genre bend. They use their eclecticism to like the most, I guess, like kind of extreme, because there's a lot of genre bending, but it still fits the tone. And they're also really coming into their own on this album as well.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but this is where they met their drummer. Am I right?
That's right. This is the first album with Claude Coleman.
AJ, allow me to tell you some of my favorite tracks on this record.
Go off, Matt.
Take Me Away. I used to hate this song.
Oh shit.
And I fucking love this song now.
It's awesome.
Take
it's great.
me away.
Oh, the lamb. And then he says thank you and everyone claps for him. That's so charming, dude. Like the humor is still here as well, but in like more subtle, like mature ways. It's awesome.
But they got it here though.
Yeah.
They got it.
They fucking did it. I love this album to death.
Spinal Meningitis is so fucking good. I saw it live, ladies and gentlemen, at Non-Binary Pals.
It's great. It's
so
honestly,
good.
that song traumatized me the first time I heard it, but like
Me too.
I was able to like overcome it the more I listened to it.
I'm not trying to shout out, or I guess I should say call out anybody. My girlfriend fucking hates this song.
I can see why, honestly.
I can't,
yeah.
but it's okay. Freedom of 76 is very good.
It's like a staple of Ween. It's so fucking good. You really see, honestly, this album really shows Diener and Jeaner's skills as musicians to like the fullest. Like you see the falsetto vocals of Jeaner on Freedom of 76, and you see fucking Diener on A Tear for Eddie, his iconic guitar solo that's a tribute to Eddie Hazel.
You know, it's so funny you mentioned this song and that song together. They're like sister songs almost.
I can see that, yeah, in terms of vibe and like just tone.
I think like with the guitar all across the board on this record, you can almost see the waveform of it.
Yeah, totally.
Because Diener just fucking rips.
Yeah.
But
it's so peaceful, but like very melancholy. It's beautifully done.
I can't put my finger on it, walked, so that Jackbox music for Quiplash can run. I'm just saying, guys.
I'm glad someone finally said it.
I'm just fucking saying.
He's right.
Is he the last?
Dude, this like super grovelly voice. And dude, the music video is so funny. They're in like a Greek restaurant. It's awesome.
Let me just say that I can't put my finger on it. And just all the tracks on here. I know Jeaner likes to do a lot of these voices, but on here, he does it so well.
He kind of slays.
In this way where it almost seems like every single song is a different singer, and that's crazy.
It's awesome. He's like playing characters a lot too, which is really fun. Especially fucking Buenos Aires Amigo.
There's a theatrical aspect of Ween, and
dude.
all of you guys are fucking missing it, and you need to listen to them right now.
They're so good. They're so much
I
fun,
unplugged
guys.
my headphones again.
God damn it, man. Put them back in. Come on. We're professionals in this inebriated
studio. Tell them more
studio.
about my favorite tracks while I'm putting this in.
Matt's favorite track is, of course, Candy.
Okay, it's actually not, but that's okay.
That is, I would say that is probably the weakest point on this album. This album was dedicated to comedian John Candy after he passed away. So they made a track in his honor, and it's not very good, unfortunately.
It's not very good, and that's kind of what, because they mentioned Chocolate and Cheese in that track, and that's why they named the album Chocolate and Cheese, so that's why. But it's kind of funny that the weakest track is what they named the album after.
Oh, there was also a funny thing. The way they recorded kind of like the muffled screams, they threw either Jeaner or Diener in the back of someone's car and then just drove him around a parking lot. And he's like, let me out. It's really funny.
And that's kind of like a callback to Bumblebee Part 1 and 2.
One might say.
One might say, if you guys are canon with the brown.
Yes.
But Roses Are Free.
Oh, top 10 Ween track. I fucking adore that song.
I saw this live, and I love the song, but here's the issue, AJ.
What's that?
There's a guy that I really hate.
Oh, that's true.
That this reminds me of.
I understand.
So sometimes I have to skip it, but it's such a fucking good track.
Yeah. the almost like Starkist like guitar solo that happens like halfway through. Like it's again with Ween, they always like hit with curveballs and left turns like you wouldn't expect, but they always make it work and so catchy, but like also kind of accessible and mainstream. It's so fucking cool.
And they honed all of that aspect into this record.
Absolutely.
And that's when the records like are so polished and they're just in this heightened sense of amazingness that you're not going to be able to fathom.
Exactly.
Because the might of the Boognish is so large.
Exactly.
Logan, have you ever heard of the Boognish?
I don't believe so.
Well, you're looking at him right now technically because there's a Boognish sticker on Matt's laptop.
Here,
Okay.
Yeah, that's the
I got
Boognish.
what you're saying.
So he is the
kind of
demon
looks
god.
like me, Logan. Kind of looks like
God, I wish I could be the Boognish.
I kind of look like it, actually. Him. Them.
They're a god. They're them.
Yeah, they've/them, the Boognish. Anyway, Mister, would you please help my pony?
Oh, beautiful track. Love it.
There's a solo in there that hurts my ears, but in the best possible way. Mm-hmm. And I love it. And I think about it literally on a daily basis.
There's like a technique I think Diener used that was like very unorthodox for a guitarist, but like other guitarists really respect it. Have you ever heard of the series 33 and a Third, like the book series?
Yes, because that's also that's an album by George Harrison.
Ah, gotcha. They did one on Chocolate and Cheese, which I bought and read. Amazing read. I highly recommend. I would definitely recommend reading it. There's a background on like each and every track and like the production and like the concept. It's a lot of fun. A really good time.
There's this part where like, because here's the thing, the little, because there's keys on this.
Yeah.
There's keys on this and they shrill.
Yeah.
They absolutely fucking shrill
During the solo.
on this track.
I love the little accents too, the build up with the drums during that part. Da-da-da, da-da-da, da-da-da. Oh, so fucking nice.
AJ, you know what track I also really fucking like?
What's that?
Drifter in the Dark.
Drifter in the Dark.
It's so good.
So-
like, oh my god.
That's never been a favorite of mine. I respect it, but it's never been a favorite of mine.
That's okay.
I think it's serviceable on the album, definitely.
Yes.
But I think it's one of my least favorite on the album itself.
Because here's the thing, AJ. In the grand scheme of things, it's not shit.
No,
okay?
like nothing. There's one bad track on this album, but otherwise,
Yes.
this album is almost flawless.
It's kind of a plain track, but then you kind of hear the Mr. Would You Please Help My Pony, and then this calm ass moment. The hook is just so simplistic, and you just kind of fall in love with it. At least I did.
And it almost kind of segues into the album they do right after this as well.
Just about to say that. I love this track. It honestly just makes me happy.
Mm-hmm. I can see that.
Because here's the thing about Gene. Here's the thing about Gene Ween. Gene Ween is so like ingenious and ingenuitive or whatever with his tracks and his songwriting. He is a tortured artist. Genuinely, he is.
We'll see that on an album we'll get to much later.
I think we are on the same wavelength.
Yeah.
Let me just say though, he's really good at what he does. They both Dean and Gene Ween have a very comprehensive level of music theory, and Dean Ween kind of keeps like the silliness and stuff like that, and like the sort of like hurrah kind of vibe. But then Gene Ween like also does the hurrah vibe, but then he also has these vibey tracks that
And
are just
like the sincerity.
That's
And-
what I wrote.
Mm-hmm.
I wrote that so many times in my notes. You have no idea. But here's the thing though, I vibe with both of them. And the fact that he can make these two conflicting vibes, not really conflicting, but kind of different vibes work. They both are able to make these work.
They complement each other.
They complement each other. And frankly, that's why they're my favorite band, because all of their bands bore me in comparison.
Yes, Ween is a lot of fun. They do a lot of shit you wouldn't expect, and I highly recommend listening to them.
AJ, can I say something?
What's that, Matt?
Well, here's the thing. SpongeBob is a kid's show for adults.
Yes.
And Ween is a kid's band for adults.
Damn, that's a really good fucking way to put that.
I read that on Reddit.
Oh, I see. I respect that less then.
Redditor, I'm so sorry. I hope that you get karma for me saying that, but I don't remember who you are,
Oh,
and that's
fuck.
okay.
Is that a description problem?
No,
Okay.
we don't credit Redditors here.
That's a good point.
We
We
don't
credit Reddit
credit-
as a whole.
We don't creditor Redditors.
I like that philosophy.
But anyway, Voodoo Lady, Joppa Road, and then fucking Buenos Tardes, Amigo.
Of course.
Me and my friend, me and my good friend Julianne, we have a very nice sort of little inside like appreciation of Joppa Road because they pass it on their way to work every morning, and then
hell
they
yeah.
text me every single time they pass it, and it makes me happy.
Joppa Road is a banger. It's definitely one of the most underrated tracks on the album. I love
great.
this one.
I do like the HIV song. Here's the deal, but I don't listen to it a lot.
Yeah, it's definitely, for me, an album exclusive track, but for what it is, it's very fun.
When I hear it live, I'm going to love it, and then it's probably going to end up on my playlist. But that's about it.
Exactly.
This is an S tier.
S tier?
I'm sorry.
I can see it. This album is phenomenal. I love it.
It's a fucking S tier. And yeah, it sounds crispy in parts. Here's the thing. You got tracks with these sounds with guitar solos, but then you got fucking Voodoo Lady and You Can't Put My Finger on It. You know what I mean? And it's these guitar solos you don't fucking fathom.
Yeah.
You can't fucking fathom them.
It's really like the most, I guess, like logical kind of step in their progression. And
yes, it is.
They pull it off immaculately coming off of Pure Guava. And I just love everything they do on this album. I mean, some of my favorite tracks include Voodoo Lady, of course. Mister, Would You Please Help My Pony is a personal favorite. I love that track, especially the little jazzy guitar solo.
It's so good.
Joppa Road I also had down here. I firmly believe that's one of their most underrated tracks in their entire discography.
I fucking agree.
As well as What Diener Was Talking About, the penultimate track on this album, I love. It's a very standard indie rock track, but there is so much sincerity in like the message of just like, you know, kind of being in tune with your friend and like what they're worried about. It's just, it's really like sweet, and I really kind of resonate with that. Baby Bitch also, oh my god.
It's so good. I feel like it's lost a little bit of favorability for me, but it's still my playlist. Number one. But then also, this is another instance of pitched up vocals working so fucking well.
Exactly.
You're not complaining. You're not complaining. You want to complain, but you fucking aren't complaining.
You're not going to do it, especially considering it's like the finale of the Birthday Boy trio.
It is.
Yeah, and like just like there's so much raw emotion, especially hearing him just like swear so often, and it is really effective and not like super distracting.
No,
it's a very
agree.
tastefully done song considering the subject matter. I would also say Freedom of 76, of course, is great. It's hearing Jeaner's falsetto vocals. Roses Are Free is a top 10 Ween song for me. I love that guitar solo and the more kind of Prince-inspired, I guess, melody. It's so much fun. And, of course, A Tear for Eddie. Hearing Jeaner just go off is always a good time.
Both of those tracks you mentioned, I have a playlist called Black Fucking Coffee. And I use it as my alarm in the morning because I want to hear some good-ass songs when I wake up. And those two are on it.
Hell yeah. We'll share that playlist with you at some point. Maybe.
We actually can. I'm so down to I pride myself on playlists. I really do.
When I figure out how to do that, we'll do that.
AJ, should we move on to the next album?
I think we should. Chocolate and Cheese is a great song. Is a great album that definitely requires a lot of conversation.
Yes.
This next album, however, not so much.
Here's the deal with this album, AJ.
Yeah.
It's called 12 Golden Country Greats, and I gotta say that there are only 4 favorites out of this record.
I only have 3.
But here's the deal, though. Production-wise, I have a newfound respect for this record. Logan, you're a country fan. How does that make you feel?
You have a newfound respect for this record. I gotta say, I'm honored that a country-ish album
is reaching that height.
Has made you feel that way.
Let me fucking explain this to you, okay? So Ween was all like, we're artists, I'm Gene Ween, and I'm tortured, and I want to make something fun. I want to fucking expand my idea of music.
Literally coming off of Chocolate and Cheese, one of their most like successful albums upon release, they just took this huge left turn, doing something like no one expected, and going pure country for 33 minutes.
Didn't they fucking go to Tennessee to record this with the best country artists of all time?
They went to Nashville?
So, hypothetically, this is where the name 12 Golden Country Greats come from, is the 12 session musicians that they recorded with. They were like Nashville legends in the scene, and they all did a great job performing these 10 songs of just like, even though like Ween, they're like masters of genre bending, they're like not really known for like, I guess, for country, they still made a really good country album.
But let me tell you, production-wise, this is amazing.
It's a lot of fun.
It's it almost silently solidifies their polished era.
Absolutely, yeah.
Like, it's so good, and people don't talk about it enough. They talk about one song. They talk about one song off here.
Justifiably, because that song fucking rips.
But here's the thing, though. Jeaner kills it on the vocals.
Yep.
And Diener kills it on the one song that I really 2 songs. 2 songs that like really fucking slap. But here's the thing, though. It's so fucking good, and it's a country album, but with Ween lore and shit.
Yeah, and it also kind of like harkens back to more, I guess, like old school country, like I guess like 70s, maybe 60s kind of country, rather than like the more like the Garth Brooks stuff that was becoming popular at the time. It goes back to its roots, and it's really effective and like really kind of cool to see them tackle this genre in such a proficient way. It's very interesting.
Have you seen the interviews of when they did the press interviews for this album?
I have not.
There's this woman who's interviewing them, like, why'd you do a country album? And then Gene Ween is just like, well, I don't know. I mean, we had the opportunity to go to this amazing studio. I think it would be good to expand our musical prowess.
Absolutely.
By doing country.
Yeah.
And Jeaner and Diener fucking did it. And allow me to tell you my favorite fucking tracks and an honorable mention.
Go for it.
I'm Holding On To You, the fucking opener. Let me fucking tell you, this track is just so sweet.
Yep.
You know, like something more precious than fine ore. You know how ore is so...
When you're panning for gold.
It's so... It is hard to find, let me tell you. I can't find it in my backyard.
No.
I can't find it at 123 Madison Street in Place, California.
In Wyoming, yeah.
I'm gonna bleep that all out because that's my real address for everybody who cares. But here's the deal. It's a great opener.
Yeah.
It's a soft opener, but
very tender, very intimate.
But here's the thing. If you're a Ween listener, let's go back, AJ. Go back in time.
I will go back in time.
To when you... So when you're going back to, you know, you hear Chocolate and Cheese, you're like, what's next, Ween?
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh, what
the fuck is this? I can see why fans were not very receptive to this album, because you would expect kind of a logical progression from Chocolate and Cheese to the next album, which I think we see on the album after 12 Golden Country Greats. But here it's such like a left turn that it's so Ween, like you can't help but respect it.
I really fucking respect it. And I'm so ashamed of myself, I didn't respect it until later on. This is definitely in the Ween journey. You listen to this one of the last ones.
Agreed. So this is not a favorite of mine. I definitely respect it. This is like second to last, but it's still a very good like album for what it is. And I definitely respect the creative direction they took, especially considering they got all these like Nashville legends to like collaborate with them. That's very impressive. And
then hot take, you listen to all the live albums last.
I agree. Yeah.
Stubbs? Oh my fucking god. But anyway, we're not going to talk about that just yet. No. At all, actually, I'm pretty sure.
No, we're sticking to studio stuff.
We are sticking to studio stuff, but listen to live at Stubbs. It's acclaimed.
Also live in Chicago, that album fucking rips.
Paint the Town Brown.
All Request Live. They got good shit everywhere.
All the live albums are great, but only listen to the studio albums and then the live albums.
Yeah.
And then see them live.
It will be very rewarding for your Ween journey.
It really will be. But let me fucking tell you, Piss Up a Rope. Let me tell you.
Banger.
That album is... not that album, this whole album. But this track is... You know, obviously, you don't want to abide by the ideals of this song.
Yeah.
But musically, here's the thing. It's kind of low-key one of the most ingenious Ween songs that's ever transpired. Like, there's this guitar solo where I don't know what the fuck kind of effects Diener was doing, but it sounds like nails on a chalkboard in the best possible fucking way.
It's so fucking pleasant for this like really out there kind of scratchy, crunchy sound, but it fits the tone of the song very well considering the subject matter. Yeah.
It fucking works. I don't understand it. Another track that I really freaking like, Mr. Richard Smoker. This track is really wild.
Dude, especially considering like the lyrics. Oh my god.
The lyrics are fucking insane.
They're crazy.
They're fucking crazy.
Yeah.
But hey, so is country.
It was the 90s. What can you expect?
It was the 90s. But musically this track, I should say.
Yeah. You eat dark meat.
It's fucking fun.
Like, I think this, like, Mr. Richard Smoker, and I would also put Piss Up a Rope in this, like, I guess this Venn diagram really shows, like, the humor that they kind of, like, were still developing. Like, even though they transitioned to this, like, specific country-oriented album, they still had, like, the classic Weenisms in there with, like, the humor and I guess, like, a little bit of, like, the instrumentation. It was very cool. They still made it their own, even though it was purely country.
Can I also say something, AJ?
What's that?
Well, here's the thing about Ween. I read a description about Ween that they kind of play with the idea of misogyny, but in a way where it's so over the top that they don't take it seriously either.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the charms of it. It's like their whole discography is one big stim.
Definitely. Absolutely.
Like, that's the thing about it. And you love every second of it, unless you don't like the brown portions at first.
Yeah, but you're kind of a loser at that point. So
you're kind of a loser. You like the polished versions first. That's how it always starts.
That is true.
But then you go
appreciation.
backward. But then you go backward and go to the brown stuff, and then the crunchy stuff, and it's the best thing you ever heard.
It hits. It's good.
And you realize that art is derivative, and not only art is derivative, art is subjective, and not only art is subjective, you're allowed to like what you like as long as you articulate it. You know?
Exactly, yeah.
And I fucking love everything they've ever put out.
They're great. Ween is a fucking fantastic band. If you haven't listened to them, go fucking listen to their albums. We'll give you a listening order eventually, we swear. But stick with us as we go through album by album.
So one other track that I forgot to mention, Fluffy, is also very good.
Really? So Fluffy has never been one that I'm too fond of. I think it definitely closes this album very well. It fits the theme, and this is a Diener track, I believe, speaking wise.
Yes, and you said that Diener decides the order of the records, right?
That's true.
Because he's a good judge of that.
Little known fact, Diener decides the track order of every album that they've released, which is very cool, very consistent. I like that a lot. But I'm not too fond of Fluffy. I think as a closer, it's serviceable, but I would never listen to it outside of this album.
That's why I put it in my honorable mentions and not in my top.
That's
I have
fair.
it underneath my overall letter ranking, and I gotta say, as a closer, it's serviceable, and that's why I like it.
What are your tops then, Matt?
I think I told you it's I'm Holding On to You, Piss Up a Rope, Richard Smoker, and then Help Me Scrape the Mucus Off My Brain. I didn't mention that. I didn't mention that one. It's radio friendly, so I love playing it.
That one's a good time. I also have Piss Up a Rope, Mr. Richard Smoker, and Help Me Scrape the Music Off My Brain. I also really love I Don't Want to Leave You on the Farm. That was a lot of fun.
I wish I liked that one more, but I'll give it a chance because you're a pretty good judge of music.
Thank you. But I think it really encapsulates their ability to adapt to any genre.
Yes.
Yeah, and I think that kind of goes for this entire album, that even though they kind of stick to one genre, it's still like pretty different in each track, and you kind of pick out things that you like from each thing. I guess the only thing that would be kind of take away from it is the lack of variety, which Ween is so like well beloved for.
But they sacrifice that for amazing production, incredible vocals.
Yeah.
Kind of, I'd say, almost like here's the thing. Ween is based off in very caricatured and sarcastic and what's the
Facetious.
What's the word? Irony. I'm thinking of the wrong rhetoric. Something. Fuck me. I'm a scholar. I should know. Satire.
Oh my god! Wow.
Satire.
Wow.
Satire. I can't spell.
Have fun editing that one.
Oh, jeez. I'm gonna leave it in. But anyway, Future Matt, you're leaving that in, okay?
You sure, Matt?
Oh yeah, Future Matt. Future Matt has no say in the matter.
But Matt, what would you give this album overall?
Oh, this album is, honest to God, I'd say. I think I said it before. It's actually gonna be an A- tier.
An A-, okay.
It grew on me, AJ.
I see.
Even the ones I didn't mention, like, what's the one? It's not the Mollusk, because that's the next one.
Pure Guava, Goblin Satan.
But there's some tracks that I have in my liked.
Yeah.
But I didn't talk about, like Pretty Girl, Powder Blue, and what was the other one? Unfortunately,
Fluffy.
Japanese Cowboy.
Yeah, riff. There's a lot of tracks on this album specifically that don't age quite well, considering the time frame that they were made.
But unfortunately, they're musically very good.
Yeah.
Because Diener and Diener had the chance to work with amazing country artists.
Exactly. It's in the namesake.
And I respect that.
Yeah.
And I unplugged my headphones again, AJ.
Well, while you plug your headphones back in, I'll say my favorite tracks. I only have 3, which are Piss Up a Rope, I Don't Want to Leave You on the Farm, and Help Me Scrape the Mucus Off My Brain.
Help Me Scrape the Mucus is just so good.
It's so tender, too. Even, like, there's this, like, super, like, kind of, I guess, like, disarming title with Help Me Scrape the Mucus Off My Brain. It's still very sincere in, like, its message and the way that it's delivered, that they can really get behind the sincerity, and I really appreciate that about this track.
This is one where I need to re-listen to it and honestly find some other things to say that are good about these other tracks, because I do like this album generally,
and I think people need to give it more credit for is the bridge period of production between Chocolate and Cheese and the Mollusk.
album.
And where you don't want to talk about it, that's on you, okay?
Yeah.
You got to appreciate the whole of Ween.
Exactly.
You got to appreciate it.
I'd say overall, I'd probably give this like a B tier, just a solid straight B. It's my second least favorite album in their discography, but I still respect it as a full-blown country album. But it led into probably their best album that they've ever released.
It's definitely the best country album I will ever listen to, but it's also not my favorite of all their whole thing.
100% agree.
At the end, we should give our top 3.
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll do that.
But can we go into my either 1 or 2?
Let's fucking dive right into probably their most iconic album of all time, The Mollusk.
Guys, I might cry.
This album is phenomenal, front to back.
The Mollusk is so good. It was released in 1997, and you guys might know it because if you've watched the SpongeBob movie,
You know it.
I don't know if you know this, but the creator of SpongeBob was a huge Ween fan.
He was.
Steven Hillenburg loved the Mollusk, and
It was a prime inspiration behind the show itself.
And this album is, I'm gonna just say quite literally, I have the softest spot for this album, and I'm biased, but if you ask me, this album is flawless.
I would 100% agree. So after they kind of took their foray into country, they essentially got their full band lineup around this time,
They
where
did,
they introduced David Drywitz and Glenn McClelland. Not specifically on the album, but after right before the album was released.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong. David Drywitz is on the keyboard.
He's on bass.
As a fuck, and is
Yeah.
on bass, and then Glenn is on the keyboard.
Yes.
Glenn, I saw you live. You're amazing.
Yes.
I'm gonna talk about you in a later track,
Yes, we'll get to that.
but oh my god.
You are fantastic. We love all the members of Ween. They're very fucking good, especially live. We love them. But the Mollusk we also love even more.
I love the Mollusk.
So after they had their little foray into professional production with Chocolate and Cheese and 12 Golden Country Greats, they wanted to kind of go back to their roots of home recording. So they rented out a beach house in, I believe, Holgate, New Jersey, where they recorded everything in their own home studio. There was a flood where they almost lost everything that they recorded up to that point, but luckily they didn't. And it brought us probably their best album they've ever released.
And in my opinion, this is the start of when the demo tracks of all of their albums starts becoming fucking incredible.
Yes, dude, like the Mollusk sessions onward, like very fucking good. Just like cut tracks and never like saw the light of day, unfortunately.
But oh my god, this album, like, AJ, I'm gonna be candid with you. This album was here for me in a time where I needed it most, and frankly, I listened to this in full very often.
I understand, man. Like, this was the first Ween album I really got into. A little funny story. So when I was in jazz band my freshman year of college, we usually give a gift to our band director at the end of every spring concert as like a tradition. And for one of the gifts my freshman year was we gave him the Mollusk on vinyl as a gift because Ocean Man was a bit in between the jazz band. And
It isn't a bit, because I
Yes.
go to we collectively all go to the same college
Yes.
AJ goes to.
That is true.
Evan and Ben also go to this college.
Pentatonics University.
They still go to this college.
They do. But yeah, so after we gave him that gift, I kind of got like curious about listening to this album, and then I was kind of like put off by it a little bit, but I wanted to like it. It was kind of like a little like I want to like this, but I shouldn't just based on like what everyone else likes. But then after listening to Chocolate and Cheese, I was like, you know what? It's okay to listen to weird shit. The Mollusk is really fucking good, and I love it. It's a concept album about the ocean. We see like they've done a concept album before with 12 Golden Country Greats, but here they executed immensely better. Like the ocean is such a prevalent theme on every track based on like lyrical concepts or just like sound in general. Like you have like guitars that sound like they're being played underwater, or like mellotrons that sound like panpipes that are being played underwater. It's so fucking cool in terms of sounds and concepts, and it's beautifully articulated with this like really kind of cool prog rock overall sound involved. It's great. I love the Mollusk so much.
I may say something controversial, but this is the best album in terms of pacing by Ween that you will ever listen to.
I think
Please
the next
disagree with
album
me.
is probably like the tightest album they've ever released in terms of like structure and pacing and just like accessibility.
Let me see what you're talking about. Oh, you're right though.
Yeah,
But I'll disagree for the sake of the argument.
I understand. This album is still Ween at their best. It's their most mature musically, I would say, where they're just like trying these various production techniques. They're going all out musically, where you have Jeaner shredding guitar solos. Claude Coleman is fucking hitting these really cool rhythms, like Johnny on the Spot and Golden Eel. Jeaner is like playing characters again on like Cold Blows the Wind, and She Wanted to Leave, and the Blarney Stone, of course. Who could forget?
Oh my gosh.
Where he plays this drunken pirate.
Here's the thing. This is the start of the Ween albums where even the ones that I hate, I love. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like, I don't hate any
Like,
album.
I say
tracks.
like the run from Chocolate and Cheese to the albums we'll get to in 2003 is Ween at their golden era.
Yes. And
Yeah.
It's the 3 golden country greats,
Exactly.
if you will.
Dare I say.
Dare I say. I love this album. This album was this is my starter Ween album, and I will always hold it in my heart as probably my favorite, whether I like it to be or not.
Yeah.
As a whole, just from start to finish, I could listen to this. AJ, can I tell you a story?
Go for it.
When I go on car rides, and I hate going on car rides sometimes, I'll judge time and distance by how far in this Ween album can I make it.
I can see that. It's a good gauge of time.
It's my comfort album at this point, and I think I love it.
So what are your favorite tracks then?
Most of them. I'm going to tell you right now.
Yeah.
Dancing in the Show Tonight is literally like whenever I drive and I do my Ween playlist when I drive, I start with this one every time and then put it on shuffle.
Nice.
You gotta.
It's a great intro for this track, even though it kind of sounds completely different from everything else. It's perfect. It works so well.
Because not to spoil it, ladies, gentlemen, and non-binary pals, it bookends.
It does.
The record.
Yes, it does.
And it's so good.
Yes.
I'm gonna name literally every single track with a few others, but I'll tell you why I don't like them. I love that one. It's just it reminds me of my adolescent days in theater, and I really like it because it just shows the charm and how they just want everything to be right, and I think it just has so much
like
heart.
A specific like show day.
And I don't love the Addams Family animated movies, but they used it in one of them. And I respect the hell out of it for that. So it's just a good fucking opener. The Mollusk I can listen to every fucking day of my life, and I will never get tired of it.
That's an album-defining song. Like that earns title track through and through.
The synth is just incredible. My girlfriend and I talk about it all the time because she and I love this album, and we talk about it literally all the time. The Mollusk also there's a folklore aspect to this album.
Yeah, totally.
Because they mention the Wandering Eye twice.
They do.
In 2 different songs, and I think that there's a connectivity in this record between the tracks, even though there's some stupid parts, but the stupid parts are still good.
Exactly.
Like, oh my god, I love the Mollusk. I love the narration. It inspired the narrator for SpongeBob.
That's
pretty
true.
much, I'm pretty sure.
And Dancing in the Show Tonight inspired SpongeBob and Patrick as characters based on their voices.
My favorite track, AJ, is coming up, Polka Dot Tail.
Polka Dot Tail is great.
I heard this live sober, like unlike how I am right now. I heard this live and I cried.
Yeah. I remember that. That was a powerful moment, man. Polka Dot Tail's insane.
It's when I decided they were my favorite band. I cried at their concert. That is how I decided.
That was a good concert.
Because I just love how nonsensical and whimsical this track is. It reminds me of like a sailor on a ship getting drunk, thinking about fantastical things to get by.
Like there's this really nice bouncy feel that's like so extended and elongated that gives you so much room to just like think. It's so powerful.
There's also production techniques on this track that I still don't know how they achieved. And I'm honestly just like, I'm bathed in the fact that I don't know how this is achieved. Logan, how does this make you feel? I love this track so much.
I'm happy for you. I can feel
Thank you.
the love, the way,
Thank you, Logan.
I'm glad someone is.
the vocab you're using. I can sense it.
I will be honest with you. Musically, I think this track number 4 is very fun.
I'll be your Johnny on the Spot.
I don't care for it though. I can't listen to it too many times. It gives me a headache.
I gotcha.
But I
love the more kind of punky feel it goes for, especially those little accents. I believe after the second chorus, the like that. That's just iconic in Ween lore. Like everyone knows that. It's so much fun.
I will tell you, when AJ and I went to see them live, the time that he and I went to go see it live, and Evan, and Fataday, and Marshall,
yes.
they played most of the Mollusk.
Yes.
And it made me love this album even more. And now it's my comfort album.
It's
for
fantastic.
The rest of the time. For the rest of the time. Actually, I'm going to tell you a fact, AJ.
Yeah.
That concert made me realize that concerts are my favorite thing.
Hell yeah. Just to like be in like social scenarios.
Yeah.
Nice.
This parasocial relationship that touches my heart to the very like deepest brim of the cockles of which it lives.
I'm glad they could have started that thought process.
Like, I love concerts, and whenever I can go, I will go. I'm trying to get Billy Joel tickets right now.
Oh shit!
It's not working,
but you're trying.
We're gonna fucking try.
That's how
we're not talking
works.
about Billy Joel. I'm gonna talk about my favorite other tracks.
Keep it going.
They played Mutilated Lips, which made me like the studio track even more.
I love that track so much.
Because it's fucking amazing. The Blarney Store is so funny.
Well, man, actually, it's called the Blarney Stone.
Stone. I used to think it was called Store. And then AJ was so kind that he didn't yell at me and be like, "You fucking idiot!
No.
It's not the Blarney Store, it's the Blarney Stone."
See,
which it is the Blarney Stone, but I'm dumb and I can't read.
Fellas, if you want someone to like get into the music that you like, don't like insult them. Help them understand. Because it's so much better and they can kind of like get along with you rather than just like being an asshole about it. It's not the way to go.
You can insult me. It's okay.
I mean, I kind of do already, but not about Ween. Because Ween is sacred.
I meant the audience. They can insult me. I don't care. Sober Matt will care, but drunk Matt, don't listen to him. He doesn't care. I don't care. Logan, how good of a burp was that?
That was exquisite. That was if you could put the sound of making love in my ears.
It's gonna be all right. Oh. This track has 3 million streams. 3,961,350 streams for a reason.
Dude, that track really resonated with me when I first listened to it. It was like the standout track when I first listened to the Mollusk, and I love it like dearly. But I think I prefer other tracks more now that I've kind of like grown past it. But I still very much appreciate it for what it is.
This is kind of one of the albums where like even the tracks that you kind of don't like, you still like.
Like I would say there's no bad track on this album. Like the worst, like hypothetically in quotes, would be I guess like Pink Eye on My Leg.
I agree, but it's still iconic.
Yeah.
When you're listening to the whole album, you can't skip it.
Exactly. It fits.
You can't fucking skip it.
Nah.
Don't try. I'll find you.
That's true.
The Golden Eel is one of my favorite tracks of all time. I love the lyrics in it because who can explain all these thoughts racking my mind? Mm-hmm. I can't.
And the fact that it was based off like a fish that one of the band members owned is really funny too, considering like the subject matter and just like how hard this song goes. It's so awesome.
It's also like, I feel like musically one of the most different songs. The drums on this.
Based on rhythm alone.
Yes,
yeah, totally.
It's crazy. Mm-hmm. Pacing wise, this album is exquisite.
I love it. It's flawless front to back. It's great.
I'm gonna keep mentioning the rest of the tracks because this entire album is my favorite.
Mm-hmm.
Cold Blows the Wind is one that I used to not like, but then my girlfriend convinced me on liking, and now I love it.
It's great. I love Cold Blows the Wind.
It's kind of one of these sincere moments where you're like, I'm an old sea fisherman.
Yes, it kind of takes the ocean concept of the album in a very different direction, but it still works very well.
It works.
Seeing Jeaner play more characters in this like different kind of scenario with this like classic kind of ballad. It's very cool.
Let me fucking tell you, audience, if you thought the voices that Jeaner did on Chocolate and Cheese were good, wait till you fucking get to this album.
Mollusk is
this album
so
is
much,
peak Jeaner.
It's great.
Well, not quite.
Actually, not quite. No.
Second to last.
Yeah, second to peak.
Second to peak Jeaner.
Yeah,
but
we'll get to that soon.
You should hear him sing Christmas songs. It's exquisite. It's exquisite. Have you ever heard him sing Christmas songs?
I have not heard him sing Christmas songs.
Well, the Christmas songs that he sings, let me tell you, there's a playlist on YouTube of Ween Christmas, and let me tell you, it's really good. I listened to it at Christmas time, and it was really good. You should listen to it.
I will definitely listen to the Christmas playlist.
You can't say that. I have Malibu in my hand. Let me do the rest.
Yeah, what else you got?
Pink on My Leg. Here's the thing. I don't listen to it often, but I respect the hell out of it. And whenever I listen to the Mollusk, I always let it play. Always let it play.
I think like the reason it's kind of a sore spot in the Ween community is that it was the original version of Kim Smoltz.
It was the original version of Kim Smoltz.
Yeah, which is I remember
reading that on Reddit.
A banger deep cut Ween track that unfortunately never saw the light of day on a studio album.
AJ, we got to talk about the outtake albums.
We do.
This is the start of when the outtake albums
get really
fucking good.
Dude, like
I have a whole ass rant ready for a couple albums later.
We'll get there.
We'll get there.
Yes, but continue, because I gotta leave soon.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
We'll go fast. You go.
So my favorite tracks on here include, of course, the Mollusk. It's very iconic. The panpipe synths are such a nice touch. They really encapsulate the feeling of the album. Polka Dot Tail is fantastic. I'll Be Your Johnny on the Spot really grew on me in terms of like a punk song.
Yes.
I really appreciate Mutilated Lips as a psychedelic rock song. It really encapsulates the vibe of the ocean, even though it has this like really distinct kind of lyrical concept. It's Gonna Be Alright, as I mentioned, has a very soft spot in my heart. The Blarney Stone is just really funny.
It's so funny.
Seeing that live was awesome.
It was amazing. I didn't see it live. I don't know why I said that. I was not at that concert, ladies and gentlemen, and non-binary pals.
And that was a lot of fun.
I was born in Atlantic City.
Oh shit! At the casino?
Allegedly.
Hypothetically in Minecraft. But I'll shout out some more of the Golden Eel fucking rips. Buckingham Green is a super Pink Floyd influenced track, and it's one of their best songs of all time.
I didn't mention it, but I had the last 3 are also in my favorite. Actually, last 4 after Pink on My Leg are my favorites.
Yeah.
But yeah.
It's fantastic. And of course, we got to mention Ocean Man.
They played it live.
They did play it live when we saw them, which is a rarity at this point in Ween's kind of concert history. So we were honored to see that. And it's a hit for a reason. It's very good.
Shout out to our recent guest, Andrew Marshall, for being the only guy to get it on video.
That's true.
At that concert.
He did do that, and we appreciate him greatly for it.
Because Gina was all like, I'm gonna dedicate this to my mom who requested it, and then Dina was like, yeah, Susan, because that's his name.
And then he turned around and did not face the audience.
No, he did not, because that's what he does.
That is what he does.
AJ, please tell me you have the final track in your favorites.
Of course, She Wanted to Leave. It closes out the album beautifully. It beautifully brings in the reprise of I'm Dancing in the Show Tonight. It's a fantastic track through and through, and really closes out the album beautifully. I can't give this anything else but an S tier. It's fantastic.
You can't give this anything else but an S tier. I'd give it S+ if you could.
Like, this album is fantastic. It's Ween at their most musically mature, in their most like prog element. So of course I like it. It's fantastic through and through. I love the Mollusk.
I had an S tier as well.
Yeah.
It's my comfort album. I listen to this like judge time. She Wanted to Leave is literally like, I listen to this song, like I'm drunk right now, as you can probably tell by the way I'm speaking. This is the perfect time to listen to it, and I want to listen to it.
The Blarney Stone is really going to speak to you, brother.
It's great. It's great. I got mold in me ears, okay?
But we got a few more albums to get through.
And we're going to go through
And there's still
fast.
some good shit to go through as well.
We're not going to talk about Painting the Town Brown, but we're going to talk about this album that I also really fucking enjoy.
Yes.
It is called White Pepper, and let me fucking tell you, this was, I'm pretty sure, the third Ween album that I listened to in the Ween discography.
This was my second. Yeah.
I wish it was my second. But it's so good.
From this Chocolate and Cheese, and that's when everything kind of clicked.
Like, here's the thing about White Pepper. It's a little bit of an odd change of pace compared to the last album.
Absolutely. This is definitely the cleanest, most accessible album they've ever released, which has garnered criticism from the hardcore Ween fans, as there's not a lot of brown on here that people can really grip towards. But as like an album that's kind of trying to get new people into it, it's perfect.
It's photo negative brown.
It's white, dare I say.
Yes, exactly. But let me just say also, like, it's a weird pace, but there's this is when the sincere aspect of Ween takes its peak. It's when it starts to take its peak. Because I'd say the next track, it gets a bit more experimental, but it kind of has the sincerity.
Yeah.
But this one is when it starts, and I think is kind of most seen.
Yeah, this is like Ween at like their most polished and most accessible, absolutely.
And I'd say, dare I say, it's maybe not most vulnerable, but maybe most, like, it's the start of them taking a more vulnerable tone.
Yeah, there's definitely tracks in here that kind of sows the seeds for where they're going on like the next album, on tracks like She's Your Baby or Falling Out or Back to Basem. But like, I guess in terms of production wise, it's very clean, very polished. Again, there's not too much like humorous elements. You have like your tracks, of course, like Bananas and Blow.
Yes.
And I guess The Grove a little bit. But like, it's very much a like kind of the most accessible Ween album that you could listen to. It's very tight in terms of song structure.
It is.
There's more genre bending, but it sticks to this more kind of psychedelic pop sound that was very reminiscent of the Beatles, because that's the concept of this album.
Yes, exactly.
So it's very cool through and through. It gets more hate than it deserves. I think it's in my personal top 5. I love this album through and through.
This is definitely, if it's not the 3rd place, it's the 4th place.
It's my number 4 album. I love this album. It's very, very good.
It's so good. Like,
yes.
Let me tell you, like, it shows. I feel like this album shows the ingenuity of how they really just wanted to come across, like in their career, and how they wanted to be a bit more sincere. Like I said before,
Yeah.
you get these tracks that are just very good and just standard. You know what I
Exactly,
mean? Like,
yeah.
it's Ween, but it's also so standard and almost like the most accessible, I'd say.
Absolutely.
But like, I feel like you got to start with the Mollusk first, because
Yeah.
there's a little bit of inaccessibility and a little bit of like experimental acid rock
That shows you who they truly are
Yes,
on that album.
But then you go here.
Mm-hmm.
I also love how much they talk about relationships in this one.
Yes.
That's something that really shows the vulnerability and kind of lets you in on like Gene Ween's sort of
Like psyche.
this is the start of his tortured artist state.
Absolutely. I mean, like, we'll see that in the very next album, but 100% he's kind of sowing the seeds for that as he's kind of like starting to go through this crisis.
Like these songs, some of these songs, actually literally all of them, they all go so fucking hard.
Yeah.
I literally, like, in terms of like all the ones that are on my Mega Ween playlist, Logan, they all but one.
All but one. Yeah, like, honestly, all these songs are so good in terms of like a pop structure. They all work so well on a playlist. I'd say like The Grove which is kind of is heresy in the Ween community.
It is heresy.
Yeah, it's not a favorite of mine. But you know, I can see the appeal. But there are so many other great tracks on here, like Exactly Where I'm At is the perfect opener with that
so
iconic
good.
drum beat.
It's so good.
Flutes of Chi is one of my personal favorite Ween songs of all time. I love the Mollusk Sessions version.
I was gonna say, are we
Yeah.
gonna talk about the controversy?
Of course, the Mollusk Sessions version is so good. It's so different from the White Pepper version, but they're both good in their own right. And I
They
love the White
are.
Pepper version very, very much.
If you want more of a Renaissance-esque type beat for Flutes of Chi, listen to the Mollusk version.
Yeah.
But if you want more of like a pop, like weird kind of launchpad sample
Yeah.
version for just this one sound effect over and over, listen to the White Pepper version.
Exactly.
Both are good in their own respects. I have both added to my mega playlist. It's very, very good.
Even If You Don't was a video that was recorded by Trey Parker and Matt Stone of South Park, who were
That's
kindred spirits
incredible.
with Ween.
That's incredible.
That song fucking rips. Classic like Beatles pop song. Of course, you got Bananas and Blow, one of their most popular songs. It's fucking phenomenal. It's probably like the song that you see the most humor on this album.
Yes.
It's probably, I guess, like quote unquote the brownest. I guess in terms of concept, not in terms of sound though. I would say Ice Castles takes that for me, or the Grove.
Dare I say, experimental wise, this may be the weakest of all the
Oh,
albums.
absolutely, yeah.
Because
there's like nothing brown on here at all.
there is not. It's photo negative brown.
Yes.
It's photo negative brown. I like every single song on here. It's on my playlist, except, and this might be this. You might hate me for this, AJ.
What's that?
Stroker Ace.
I like Shirker Ace, but it's done way better on the next album.
Take Me Away Part 2.
Or It's Gonna Be a Long Night. Like, it's just it's there. It's fine for what it is. You kind of get your genre bendy, I guess, like quota with this song. But it's not really worth it in my opinion, and they just do it better literally on the next album.
AJ mentioned all of them, but I'll mention the ones because it's literally all but that one that I like. Ice Castles, it's a weird instrumental, but
Yeah.
my god, do I love it.
It's one of the best instrumentals they've done on like their string of instrumental like tracks.
Wholeheartedly
Yeah.
agree. Wholeheartedly agree.
It's very cool.
I love The Grove.
Dude.
Back to Basson.
I was gonna mention that's one of my all-time favorite Ween tracks. Jeaner goes off on this track in terms of like vocal delivery, and it's so powerful.
And a Kafka in hand. Well, that's She's Your Baby.
That is She's Your Baby.
Shit. Back to Basson. How's that one go?
Reaching out now as
In a
I touch
different
your face.
way.
Oh my god.
So good. I love actually the.
The guitar riff, you hear
good.
Jeaner just go off, like especially during the chorus when you see elongates his voice. It's so fucking pleasant to listen to. I love that track so much.
I would agree. And Ween fans, I'm so sorry that I mixed up the songs. This album is just great.
We are also drunk. We
I'm
apologize.
fucking wasted, but we're not going to talk about it. I love The Grove. I actually really like The Grove.
I will say I like it better live than the studio version.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
I'm sure they kill it live. AJ, we got to talk about it. Pandy Fackler.
Oh my god, how could I forget Penny Fact? Steely Dan, one of my favorite artists of all time.
I love this song
It's Ween
so
to Steely
much.
Dan. It's fucking incredible.
I
and
love
Glenn
this song.
McClelland goes the fuck off on this live with like a 10-minute keyboard solo, and it's so fucking amazing.
I fucking saw it.
Yes,
guys,
you did.
I fucking saw it.
Dude, Panty Fackler rips. This is again another instance of like the humor coming through with like the lyrical content, and I guess like the concept of like hanging out with this girl who like you think is out of your league, or like you're out of her league, and just kind of like hooking up with her with these like lyrics that are kind of like derogatory but like really really funny, backed by this really smooth instrumental and incredible key solo.
Listen, of picket fences and a white facade,
sucking dicks under the promenade. You can't get better than that.
You really can't.
And
at
Claude
all.
Coleman's drum beat, I adore. I love so much this jazzy kind of feel, but it rules so much with the accents, the crash. It's great. I love this track.
Cut this shit out, Future Man.
Cut it out.
Cut it out.
David
Coulier,
Coulier.
please don't sue me. I'm begging you.
Another track that I think is really underrated in Ween's discography, Stay Forever.
Dude, it's so good.
It's fantastic.
This is like, okay, I wouldn't say peak Sincere Jeaner, but it's up there.
It's up there, yeah.
Like, I've never heard a sweeter song. This and Sarah are on like the same level of sweetness.
Especially like when you hear his like voice kind of crack because he goes for those higher notes during the chorus.
I wanna know,
Do
you
you
feel the same way?
It's so beautiful. I love that track so much.
Oh, I'm gonna listen to all of Ween when I get home.
It's the only way to celebrate.
It really is. It really is. I can't wait to see him live, AJ. AJ, imagine, let's take a little break.
To give you all a picture.
Of you and I engaged in a kiss.
Yes.
That's
Sweat of Your
Prince.
Body covers
They
me.
played Prince at the concert.
They did.
and I
When we
cried.
saw them, they covered Purple Rain.
I
Purple
cried.
Rain. It was iconic.
They played it before my favorite Ween song, and it was fucking amazing. But let me just say, imagine the bonus tracks are gonna play at the 30th anniversary.
I know,
of-
right? They gotta.
They're gonna. I don't even know what they're. I'm so scared, but I'm so excited.
Dude, I'm stoked for this fucking set. It's gonna be awesome.
Stay Forever is very, very good. I love how fucking upbeat it is, and I love just. I don't know. It's
The
just,
sincerity, the sweetness, the tenderness of it.
Falling Out, I feel the same exact way. I really love the drum beat on this one, and the guitar on this fucking fucks. And then She's Your Baby, while I do feel closer-wise, it's not the best out of all of them.
I like it.
It's such a good track.
Agreed. Especially, it's even more tender than fucking Stay Forever. It's a lot more kind of like lower pace. It's more intimate. It definitely, in my opinion, I think it fits the closer vibe very well.
I think it's a very good track overall. Like, as much as I don't love it as the closer when I listen to it, I also love the fact they mentioned Kafka, because Kafka fucking fucks.
It's very Kafka-esque, dare I
It
say.
is. They mention it in the song.
So it has to be.
But yeah.
What would you give White Album as a White Pepper as a rating?
I'm the White Album.
We already did that. My fault.
Yeah, we did. We did with the Residents. Take a listen to that episode. We worked hard.
One of my favorites. I love that episode.
We worked hard. The fire alarm went off. It was fucking crazy.
That's true. We had to evacuate the studio.
I thought we were gonna get killed.
Please
but it's
listen to
okay.
that episode. It was a lot of fun. But Matt, what would you give White Pepper as a rating?
So I know I said somewhere between B+ to the A range.
Yeah.
Maybe I just gotta go with a happy middle. You know, A-.
A-? That's fair.
I gotta be honest with you. This album, they do everything right.
Yeah.
They literally do everything right. Here's the thing. The sign of a good album. If I like all the songs but one song, that's pretty fucking good, guys.
It's like chocolate and cheese all over again.
Literally. It's literally like that.
But not as eclectic.
Not as eclectic, no. Like here they have the nice pop rock sound.
Yep. The
And-
Beatlesy kind of style.
Beatlesy kind of style, yeah.
I would give this probably like a solid A. I'd say it's definitely it's my number 4. It's right above Pure Guava, right under the next album that we're gonna get to.
Yes.
But it is very good through and through. I really respect it. It's overhated in my opinion, and I think people should revisit it because there's a lot of good shit on here.
I didn't even know it was hated.
Like people don't like it because it's not as like brown or like yeah.
Oh, go cry about it. That's so great. It's not as brown. Wow.
But like even still, you got tracks like Bananas and Blow, Pandy Fackler, Ice Castles, Strucker Ace. Like there's good stuff on there to like a piece of the hardcore brown Ween fans.
Not even still. It is.
Yeah.
That's what I fucking say.
There's good shit all over this album. I
There's
highly
good
recommend.
shit all over the discography.
That's true, and we're almost done. We got 3 more albums left.
Yes, we are, and you should appreciate
Dude.
this album.
Oh my god. Next up, we got one of my favorites, I Adore Quebec, released in 2003. This album is fucking iconic.
I fucking love this album as well.
It's it matches the rawness of God Ween Satan, but with such a maturity in terms of lyrics and delivery that it really shows the development of where they started and like where they were at that point in time. It's beautiful.
Out of respect for Gene Ween, because I know this is around the point where most turbulently he was living his life.
So in terms of history, like a lot really happened to the band that kind of like set the trajectory of where this album was going to go in terms of concepts. Gene was going through a really nasty divorce.
Yes.
Also drug and alcohol abuse.
Yes.
And at the same time, Claude Coleman got in a really bad car accident. So he was missing through like half of like the album recording process, and he came back towards like the end half, I believe. So it was like a really rough time for the band, and you can really hear that in terms of like the concept that they talk about throughout this album, and it's so raw and emotional that I just can't help but love it.
There's so many good things. It's raw and emotional. I feel like it has kind of like even more of the raw and emotional like feel of White Pepper.
Yeah.
But the thing is, it's got this psychedelic aspect.
Yes.
That like
absolutely
is pulled from the Mollusk, and I'd say ramped up by like 5 points.
Absolutely.
Like, oh my god, like you got tracks like the opener, It's Gonna Be a Long Night.
Yeah, like just a pure Motorhead kind of like riff on just like essentially setting you, like warning you what you're in for the rest of the album.
But it's not fatiguing. This album is not fatiguing whatsoever.
No, there's so many like genre switch ups that like really like catch you off guard, especially like on tracks like Hey Mr. Fancy Pants and like Captain. It's like shit you wouldn't expect, but it works so well for the pacing and just the tone that's like they're going for.
It's almost like a double-edged sword, because you could tell this is around the time where Gene Ween was kind of suffering the most.
Oh, absolutely.
But at the same time, like
it created fantastic art.
Fantastic art that just goes so hard every single time. You got tracks like It's Gonna Be a Long Night. You got tracks like Transdermal Celebration.
Oh my god, one of their like defining tracks.
It's one of the fucking best tracks I ever heard. Can I tell you how many plays? 9,161,352.
There's also a great music video for it.
It's really good. It's
awesome.
Animated. It's so good.
It's great.
I one time sang it live at a graduation party.
I was there and I drummed for that.
It was fucking awesome.
It was sick.
I really liked So Many People in the Neighborhood because the demo track beat for this is called Where Did the Cheese Go?
Was So Many People in the Neighborhood derived from Where the Cheese Go?
I think Cheese Go might have been from People in the Neighborhood.
That's funny. I like that a lot.
Because here's the thing. This is the other album where the demo album is very fucking good.
Oh my
and
god.
I love this album. I love this album so much. I'll tell you my rating in a little bit. But I have beef with it because there are so many tracks on here that didn't make it on here that are literally the best of their raw material.
Dude, they had the Caesar demos, which is the demo version of Quebec. There's so many fantastic tracks like Potluck, Linda the Sexy Dancer, Shit in Your Hat, Matt, Ambrosia Parsley.
Ambrosia Parsley is so good.
Eulogy for David Anderson, which is one of my personal favorites. I love how just like deep and like melancholy that song is.
Eulogy for David Anderson?
Yeah.
How much sex can we have in? I love that part. Ambrosia Parsley. So good.
So many great tracks on
the Buffalo one.
Yeah.
That one's so good. You got that. You got all those. People in Neighborhood. Tried and True is their most streamed song at 16,550. No, that's not right. I can't read. 858,570.
That's one of my all-time favorite Ween tracks. I love Tried and True. It's got such like a nice poppy, accessible hook to it, but like if you listen to the lyrics, it kind of like describes the tribes and tribulations of like toxic relationships, and it's in like such a poignant way.
And in this way where it's almost the most relatable Ween song.
Oh, absolutely.
Like that's the thing that I love about this record.
And there's still humor in it too. Like you have the lyric like you could smell my whole ... life. It's so clever. Even though it's in this like really dark period of their like career, they're still like going for the humor that they're so like beloved for. It's awesome.
It really, really is. And the demo track, in my opinion, fucks even harder than the studio release track.
Yeah, when it's like a little slower too.
It's oh god.
Yeah.
Listen to the Caesar demos.
The Caesar demos
guys.
are fantastic. They're so good.
They're so amazing. But to keep going, Happy Colored Marbles.
Iconic.
It's kind of a jump scare, but trust me on this, you're gonna love it later on.
Agreed. This track scared the fuck out of me the first time I listened to it. I was traumatized by it, but the more, again, like spinal meningitis, like the more I listened to it, the more I appreciated it.
I loved it from the get-go.
Yeah.
The going went tough from the get-go, and I love this track.
Go man, go. Not another motherfucker gonna go now.
Hey There Fancy Pants, me and my friend Tenny really love this track, and we talk about it all the time.
It's a nice kind of like reprieve from all like the darkness that's through this album. It's like kind of like the spot of light that's in there, which is very necessary for like the type of album this is going for.
And then it dips back into darkness with Captain.
Oh my God, Captain! What an atmospheric ambient track.
I can't tell you how many times I've listened to this song while driving at night, and let me tell you, it's the shit. It's the shit.
It's very much a vibe, and like it really just captures like this ominous kind of feeling of like defeat and just like loneliness, wandering. It's very powerful, especially at this point in the album.
Here's the thing. Chocolate Town is a great song. Listen to the studio version. I like the demo version more, and that's okay.
I gotcha. I'm more of a Quebec guy myself on this one.
I love the Chocolate Town demo version. I think the higher key works for Jeaner's voice way better.
Gotcha. That opens the Caesar demos, right?
I believe so.
Yeah. I can totally see that. I will also say how the Mollusk is more so Ween at their most like musically mature. This is definitely them at their most like emotionally mature.
Yes, I would totally agree with that.
They're definitely kind of taking on these like serious issues in a much more kind of like serious and like empathetic way that they really haven't been able to describe before, at least up to this point. And they do it in such a way that like you can relate to, you can kind of see like their growth, and it's really rewarding, especially if you started like from God We Satan like to here. Like if you like, compare like Common Bitch to like I Don't Want It, it's really cool seeing their like journey like lyrically. It's awesome.
You take the humanity of White Pepper, but then you bring sort of the psychedelic nature of both, I feel, Godween Satan and even a bit of the Mollusk.
Yeah.
And you kind of combine all that, and that's kind of what you get with this album.
Plus like the rawness of like what was going on at the time. It's just like it's a beautiful combination.
It does, and I think it really shines and brings such fruitful results as you listen from start to finish.
Absolutely.
I Don't Want It is probably my favorite track on here.
Oh shit, really?
I fucking love this song.
It's good.
And I love the demo even fucking more, because I think even just the lower key that they have for the demo version, it works.
Yes.
It works, and the guitars just sound insane on that one. They have this amount of drive on the Caesar demos that just works. It fucking works. But anyway, the Fuck Jam, I do love the Fuck Jam. I don't have it on my Mega Ween playlist.
I think it's easily their weakest instrumental track from the stretch of Chocolate and Cheese to here.
It's fucked. It's a jam.
And there's not much. It's funny for what it is, but it kind of kills the pacing a little bit for me.
I might have a hot take.
What's that?
I don't care for the Argus.
You don't care for the Argus?
I don't.
Dude, the Argus is one of my favorites. I
see why.
Adore the Argus. It's got this nice proggy sound, this nice 6A feel. It's got this really cool imagery with like Greek mythology.
No, it's perfect.
It's beautiful. I love this track. It's a great penultimate track for the album. I adore this track through and through.
I personally think that the rest of the content is so good that this one kind of pales in
It gets
comparison
dwarfed.
for me.
I gotcha.
For me, but
I understand.
But either way, though, it's still perfect because it encapsulates a lot of the stuff that you like, especially the proggy aspect.
Yes, absolutely. And then, like, considering, like, conceptually, too, just based off, like, how, like, hypothetically, a tragic character the Argus is, and how, I guess, like, Jeaner is kind of comparing himself to that in, like, that imagery, it's very powerful, and I think it's just a very poignant track. I love it so much.
No, I would agree. I definitely see why people like the Argus, and why I think the majority of the Ween fans do like the Argus. I don't personally find it as enthralling as y'all do, but who knows? Ween is a band where you hate some songs when you first listen, but then you like some songs later.
Exactly.
This might end up being one of the songs that I like later.
Only time will tell. It might even ring a wedding bell.
Those are the lyrics.
I push little daisies.
Yeah, not to the Argus.
No.
Just push little daisies. I can't read. I do love If You Could Save Yourself, You'd Save Them All.
What a phenomenal closer.
And let me tell you, the fucking demo version rips just as hard.
Dude, like you really hear on the demo version just how powerful and like how raw Jeaner's vocals are in that version, because he's like not really using any filters. He's just going like purely just vocal talent. And it's not like, you know, like very accessible, but it's very like poignant for like what he's going for like this kind of like vibe, and it's perfect. I quite like that track. It definitely closes out the album very well.
I quite like this album, and this album deserves an A+ from me.
I would agree. This is like this is the album that contests with Chocolate and Cheese is like the number 2 and 3 spot. Like Chocolate and Cheese was the album that really got me into Ween, but Quebec is so like emotionally like vulnerable and just like captivating that it's just really tough to decide. It depends on like the different day. So I'd say like A+/S tier. I adore Quebec. Some of my favorite tracks include It's Gonna Be a Long Night, Zoloft, which you did mention.
Zoloft is really good. I personally get a little bit too sad when I listen to it, so that's why I don't listen to it. But at the same time,
It's really like unique in terms of the album. This like really like psychedelic, like kind of forced happiness, which is like, again, which is what Zoloft is essentially there to do.
Yes.
It perfectly encapsulates like the theme. Transcendental Celebration is fantastic. I cover it with my band, which we fucking love playing. Among His Tribe, I feel like is super underrated.
You know what? I definitely respect you saying that.
Yeah.
I think the demo version is better.
Agreed.
But at the same time, I gotta give the studio version a little bit more love.
It's very peaceful and very like nice to listen to. Tried and True is one of my favorite Ween songs of all time. I fucking adore that track. What else we got? Chocolate Town is great. It's one of their most iconic songs, one of the most defining tracks from this album. I love the Argus, as I mentioned in my defense of that. It's one of my all-time favorite Ween songs. There's just so many just great tracks on here. Hey There Fancy Pants is the perfect reprieve from the darkness that we've been hearing.
Yes.
Kind of going back to that humor that Ween is so well known for, but putting like this really negative spin on it, which is so interesting.
Yes.
With this like theme of like performer isolation and like being seen as like a novelty rather than a person. It's very cool. Quebec is just so fascinating as a listen and like to dissect. So I highly recommend like listening to it on your own. A+ tier at least.
I also highly recommend, as AJ is saying, that you gotta listen to the demos. You gotta listen to the Caesar demos. There's a guy.
So good.
There's a guy. His name is Ween Archive on YouTube, and you gotta listen to his remaster because it will make you fall in love with the demos and even the studio album even more.
Absolutely.
You gotta do it.
There's so much good shit
It's a
on
must. Subscribe to him on YouTube even.
And subscribe to us too at the Family Album.
Oh yeah, that's true. That's true. Yes. But I'm just saying, like, if you want to listen to really amazing remastered Ween tracks,
shout out Ween Archive.
Ween
They're
Archive.
great.
He's fucking amazing.
I love him.
He's a current YouTuber and he's uploading all the time.
Constantly, yeah.
Probably one of the best audio engineers I've heard in like the music scene of remastering old tracks.
Totally.
But I can gush about him later. We're gonna talk about Shinola Volume 1
That's true.
really quickly.
Yeah, so this is technically not a Ween studio album. It's more so a compilation album.
Yes.
But the fact that these are all technically new recorded versions of older songs they did for like B-sides or just like singles.
Yeah.
It kind of counts as like a studio album in terms of like the Ween community.
Yes.
It's a lot of fun. It's a good time.
I will say there are only 4 tracks on here that I genuinely will listen to a lot.
Okay, what's that?
Tastes Good on the Bun. I actually really like this track.
It's a great opener.
It's fun.
It really harkens back to their Brown days, but in a more kind of like modern version, which is very cool.
Boys Club.
Yeah. Boys Club fucking rips. This classic like Michael McDonald yacht rock riff, it's perfect. Boys Club. And the little high-pitched like vocals in the background, it's great.
It's amazing. I think musically it's probably one of my favorites.
I would agree.
It's so playful for no reason and just like, get a sweet piece of ass.
It's like playing like, I guess like on the commentary of like yacht rock being gay, I guess.
Yeah.
It's very silly, very funny. Very early 2000s.
Unironically, my favorite track on this record, Gabrielle.
Gabrielle fucking rips.
It is
so good.
Dare I say, it is probably one of the best guitar solos Diener has ever put out.
100%. I believe this was a Chocolate and Cheese track that they reworked for Shinola Volume 1, and it is fantastic. It's very Thin Lizzy inspired, as you can hear, in terms of the vocals and guitar style. But it pays off immensely as they kind of put their own unique spin on this. Diener has his own fucking immaculate solo. Great fucking track, iconic, probably one of the standouts from this album through and through.
No, I would totally agree. I mean, like, here's the thing. Shinola is one of those things where it's like a collection album of just outtake songs that they wanted to rehash and bring to light. Make new. And I think there's some really, really fucking good tracks. But, you know, like, it is what it is. And I say the last one that I really like is Did You See Me?
Did You See Me? I love that track so much. As a Pink Floyd fan, of course, I gotta love it.
I think it really, really works for what it's trying to go for. And I think, listen, I don't know what era of Ween they wrote this song, but at the same time,
I think it was the Mollusk.
It was the Mollusk.
This might have been like a predecessor to like Buckingham Green, because they're pretty similar.
I can kind of see that now that you're mentioning that. But I will say that this one really stood out to me. I used to really like the riff a lot, and I used to listen to it a lot.
Yeah.
But personally, I don't know, it gets a little old after a while.
It is pretty long for a Ween track, I will say.
I will say, and here's the reason why I didn't say it. Someday, but the fucking Caesar version.
So this is where we disagree. I love the Shinola version, and I don't care for the Caesar version.
I like how weird his voice is when he sings.
He goes for like the more kind of like Muppet delivery on the Caesar demos.
He's like, someday.
He like screams. He does like a stupid voice with it. But I just love the sincerity of Someday on Shinola, which really like sticks out to me. It's one of my favorite tracks on the album. I adore Someday.
It's a good song.
Yeah.
But the guitarist, the guitar riff is so good.
Mm-hmm. And like just like how I guess like kind of like simple and romantic the lyrics are. I was like, you know, like someday you and I will find like we'll walk alone.
Yeah.
Tuesday is pizza day. It's iconic in like the Ween community. It's such like a tender, lovely song that I just adore what it stands for, and I just prefer this version more than the Caesar demos.
And I think I like this version more than the regular studio version because the silly voice kind of, in my opinion, encapsulates the essence of what Ween is.
That's a good point,
which is
too.
juxtaposing really silly either sonic ideas or lyrical ideas with something serious, whether it's serious
lyrical
lyrics
content or production.
Yeah. So I think we kind of like it for inverse opposite reasons.
100%, yeah.
And I really like the studio version a lot. I think the funny voice makes it really, really funny, but he's talking about serious stuff.
I got you.
I don't know. I really like it.
It's good. I mean, regardless of what version you listen to, Ween is always great.
It really is. Unfortunately, though, in the echelon of Ween, this one is the lowest on mine.
Oh, really?
Technically, yes. It's a D.
Really?
Yes.
Interesting. I'd say this is third from the bottom.
Okay.
It's right above 12 Golden Country Greats and the one we're gonna get to next. But I'd say like I like at least a B tier. I think like there's a lot of great stuff on here.
Okay.
Hearing like these new versions of songs that they've done from all across their discography is just really fun to explore.
Okay.
And there's great tracks on here, of course, like Gabrielle and Someday and Did You See Me? But I want to shout out Transitions, one of their most underrated tracks. I fucking adore the drum beat on that one so much. What else is there? I Fell in Love Today, another track from the Caesar demos.
That is a really good one.
Yeah.
And I do like the Caesar demos version of that one.
Which is very fair. The riff sees Jeaner kind of just go off with like the spacey concept, which is really cool. And you really get to see like their brown stuff too with like Taste Good on the Bun and Big Fat Fuck. It's like stuff you wouldn't expect, but it's really cool to see. And of course, Boys Club, which you already mentioned. There's just great tracks all across this album.
There are. I will very much agree with that.
Yeah. Unfortunately, for this next one,
probably the last one we're gonna mention.
Yeah, the last studio album that they have released up to this point in 2007. We have
La Cucaracha. AJ, I have something very unfortunate to tell you.
What's that?
I have nothing to say about this album.
Really?
Yes, I don't like it.
So this is easily their worst album that they've released, studio-wise.
Yes.
It has their worst song material on there. There's still some gems on there, I would say, but it sounds like Ween of like their most desperate, unfortunately.
Yes, and that is something I did write in my notes.
Yeah. But like the gems are still really good. Like tracks like Your Party, Blue Balloon, Woman and Man. I really dig Fiesta, the instrumental track.
I hated that one a lot. Yeah,
I love that one. It's so fun.
I wanted to like it so bad because they are my favorite band, but I will say, I mean, Drunk Matt will be more brave with this. I quite abhorred this album.
I mean, it's 100% like by far their worst like album that they've ever released in terms of studio stuff.
Yeah.
But like, cause there's tracks like The Fruit Man and which is like this kind of offensive like reggae ballad. You have Spirit Walker, which really goes into this like auto-tune genre, this auto-tune kind of direction that really has no purpose and is just more annoying than thought-provoking.
Yeah.
This might be a hot take. I don't really care for Shaymaker. That's one of their more popular live songs, but I just find the voice he does really annoying.
Okay.
Learn to Love is this really shitty country track that's just like kind of a nothing song. But on top of that, there's also some really cool underrated gems in there. Like Woman and Man, as I mentioned, is this like 10-minute like kind of proggy, like classic 70s classic rock kind of style.
Yes.
Which doesn't get talked about enough. You have Object, which is this really cool kind of like honestly exploration of sociopaths.
Okay.
With this really awesome just like saxophone riff.
I didn't take it as that when I listened to it, but I will probably
I give it another listen.
I'll look into it.
Blue Balloon is probably like one of the most accessible tracks on this album. It's probably they're more poppy. You have the sound of like the balloon as like a constant production element in there. I really love Fiesta. It's a nice change up from what they've been doing with this like very like Mexican themed, just like instrumental ballad.
Okay.
And Your Party is like a defining Ween song. I adore this track so much, with like this very jazzy feeling and this really like tender message about this loving couple. I adore Your Party very much, and it's one of my favorite tracks on this album. Probably my favorite track.
Okay. I will say, unfortunately, for all you Ween fans who are family album fans, which the Venn diagram is very small.
Yeah.
I will say.
It's probably just Evan.
It's just Evan. It's just Evan.
Evan and Marshall and Ruski and Fataday.
No, I personally did not care for any part of this album at all upon this recent re-listen, but who knows? Maybe one day it'll be a bit of an American football.
I don't know about that.
No, I do know about that, and it will be.
It's easily their worst album they've ever released.
It is.
Which really sucks, is their last kind of studio contribution to like their music, which is really a shame. But there's good stuff on there that you got to kind of like dig through to get to.
And they're not going to release another album because they literally can't. Like, no offense, I love you, Ween. You're great. But at the same time, don't release another album, please.
Yeah, I think we could just leave it as it is. I mean, I'd be cool for like a Shinola Volume 2. Maybe some re-recordings of like older tracks would be really cool.
Yes, but we don't want to hear any of your takes right now.
Yeah, I think like as a touring act, you're kind of killing it, and you should keep going in that direction. But unless you got anything else to say, move on to our album rankings.
Yeah, you know what? I guess we could go into our... how about we do album order of listen?
Yes, that's a good idea.
I think that's the best way.
Yeah, so I think, obviously, you start with The Mollusk.
Yes.
It's their defining album as, like, musicians, and in terms of just, like, concept, it's very bold and very out there. It inspired an entire show and an entire generation of people with the SpongeBob movie.
That's unanimous.
Yeah, like, it's just great. Start with The Mollusk, 100%.
Yes.
From there, I guess you go White Pepper, Chocolate and Cheese, Quebec, in any kind of order, though I'd save Quebec for last in that kind of rotation.
Okay.
Yeah, what would you say?
Yeah, I'd say The Mollusk first. For me personally, I went with Chocolate and Cheese next.
That's
which
fair.
Felt like a genuine, like, even though production-wise, The Mollusk is ahead of Chocolate and Cheese, I think you definitely gotta kind of only work your way a little bit backwards for Chocolate and Cheese.
Because you kind of see like where they started with that, but just in like the most professional setting. And it's very, very well done.
In terms of that, then I know I went for White Pepper next, and then I went for Quebec.
I would agree with. You want to take that again?
No, we can leave it in.
All right. But I agree. I think you go with Quebec last because it's definitely the most brown of this like quartet of albums.
Yes, I would agree.
So it's definitely the least accessible. It's the most uncomfortable in terms of like lyrical concepts and musicality, because you have tracks like So Many People in the Neighborhood and Happy Colored Marbles.
Yes.
So just brace yourself for that. It's going to be a little weird, but it's going to be very rewarding the more you listen to it.
And if you're going to listen to the demo album, listen to it later.
Yeah.
Listen to it a lot later.
It'll be even more rewarding if you listen to it later.
I agree.
After that, I guess you start with the Brown stuff. I would say the Brown trilogy.
I would say so. So I'll go first.
Yeah.
I would start with the Pod after this.
Interesting.
In my opinion.
Okay.
In my opinion, I would go with the Pod. Then honestly, I'd go out on a limb and say Godwin Satan and then Pure Guava.
I would say start with Godwin Satan because I feel like of the Brown trilogy is the most accessible.
Really?
I would, because in terms of like sound quality, like
okay, I can see that. Because even though crunchiness of Godwin Satan, it's very, very much present.
Yeah.
There is a sludge aspect of the Pod.
Yeah, that's
that
like
cannot
very,
be ignored.
Exactly. Like you kind of like got to prepare yourself to listen to the Pod and Pure Guava, but Godwin Satan you can kind of jump into. It's like more straightforward punk all throughout, and there's a lot more kind of like cool genre bendy stuff, whereas the Pod and Pure Guava are more abstract and like creative in a way that's like not really accessible to mainstream audiences. So I'd start with Godwin Satan and then probably Pure Guava, then the Pod.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I would have probably said Godwin Satan, Godwin, or no,
The Pod.
The Pod, Godwin Satan, and then Pure Guava, in my opinion. But I think you do make a very valid point.
Yeah.
Because I think Pure Guava definitely encapsulates kind of what Godwin Satan and the Pod, what
it's
they
like
kind of
the
offer.
perfect midpoint. Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
So actually maybe listen to them in like the release order, Godwin Satan, the Pod, Pure Guava. I'd say the Brown trifecta. Go with what order you feel comfortable with.
I agree.
Yeah, it's for my personal opinion, I say Godwin Satan, Pure Guava, the Pod, but just whatever you feel comfortable with, go with. And then after that, you have Shinola, 12 Golden Country Greats, and La Cucaracha. I guess, again, kind of fuck around with whatever you want to, because these albums are so different from each other.
Yes, I personally went with Shinola, Country Greats, and then La Cucaracha.
Yeah.
Which might be kind of an interesting order.
I would say end with La Cucaracha, because that is the last album that they released.
Yes.
Honestly, I'd say chronological order is pretty good for that as well, because you guys just kind of hear like the leftovers that was kind of like not as like acclaimed or as like a part of like a whole trilogy as like the Brown trilogy. So just, again, do whatever you feel is right. I'd say chronological order works for me the best. You have like the clean production of 12 Golden Country Greats, plus like the leftovers from like their great albums, and then you have like their finale that they've released with La Cucaracha.
Because the thing is, with all the other albums before these last three that we mentioned, this is the part in Ween's career where you kind of start to see where their creative ingenuity could have gone.
Exactly.
So you start to see all these other leftover tapes and even just these weird creative sort of like avenues that their brains went into in these studio recordings and songwritings. You kind of see this here in these last three. So I would say that definitely save these three for the end. It's going to make for a much more worthwhile Ween journey.
They're so different from like everything else that they've released. You want to save these as like kind of like the leftovers, essentially.
Yeah, and I think you'll be able to find a couple of gems out of this. Unless you're like me, who didn't like La Cucaracha at all.
There's good stuff in there. I swear, it's Ween heads, newly inducted Ween heads.
Newly inducted. Yeah.
I promise you, there's a good stuff in La Cucaracha. Just search it out.
All right, AJ. Well, here's the deal. We talked about the order. We need to talk about what our favorite Ween album is.
Okay. Do you want to do like a 3, 2, 1 thing?
Yes.
Okay. 3, 2, 1. The Mollusk. Yeah.
The Mollusk is irrefutably probably the best album that Ween has.
Absolutely. Like, it doesn't have quite of like the emotional reach as Quebec does, but what it lacks in that, it makes up for in tightness of production and concept and just musical maturity as a whole.
And even like with musical concept, it's got this acid rock kind of feel.
Yeah, and like a lot of prog rock influence as well all throughout. It's very interesting, and it sticks to its concept like through and through in the most like tight way possible.
Even so, where even some of the songs kind of mention the same stuff.
Yeah.
Well, really two, I should say, but like...
But you don't really notice it because it sounds so different.
It sounds so different, but also it bookends itself well.
Exactly.
And it's also kind of, despite having so much variety and diversity in sound, it has enough consistency.
Yes.
So you got to go with the Mollusk. The Mollusk is literally the starting point.
Absolutely,
of what
you
we
have to
both
go
said.
with, yeah.
So it literally SpongeBob. If you're like me and AJ, who grew up with SpongeBob, it's literally the quintessential Ween album.
It inspired the show itself. The Ween also featured in the show. They wrote a song, the
Loop-de-Loop.
The Tie Your Shoe song. That was Ween. That was great. Steven Hillenburg loved those guys.
And honestly, it's the only album out of all their stuff that I put in S tier, and that's for a reason, because I'd say all but, in my opinion, 2 of the songs, fantastic.
And just like, it's so consistent and so tight all throughout.
Despite it having so much variety.
So, from bottom to top, what is your Ween album ranking?
Oh, God. Let me look. From bottom to top?
Yeah.
Well, so from bottom, I gotta say La Cucaracha.
I would agree.
Without a doubt. Then I gotta say, probably... respectfully, Shinola.
Okay.
Then we're gonna go with 12 Golden Country Greats. Then we're gonna go with probably God, Ween, Satan, then The Pod, and then Pure Guava. Then that is followed by Chocolate and Cheese, Quebec, White Pepper, and then The Mollusk is on top.
Interesting. Okay. So your ranking is very similar to mine. Mine is, again, La Cucaracha at the bottom.
Yeah.
Then 12 Golden Country Greats and Shinola are flipped. I like Shinola more than 12 Golden. Then God, Ween, Satan, The Pod, Pure Guava, then White Pepper, and then Chocolate and Cheese and Quebec kind of like switch off.
I can see that.
Depending on like what day, like the day of the week, and then The Mollusk at the top.
Yeah.
So I actually like very surprised how similar our rankings are.
Yeah, because here's the thing. Like, I love White Pepper and Quebec and Chocolate and Cheese. They're all fucking great albums.
They're immaculate. They're so good.
But I think I like them all for different reasons.
Yeah.
I love the real psychedelic shit that Quebec does. I love the really standard feel that White Pepper has.
Yeah.
And then Chocolate and Cheese has this charm to it that's like...
It's so different.
It's so different.
Yeah, it really... It's... Honestly, like, that is kind of like the quintessential Ween album. Like, that is Ween at their core.
Yeah.
But, like, the Mollusk is Ween at their peak.
Yes.
Yeah.
Ween at their most enjoyable.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like it's honestly, all their albums are fucking great. I love Ween is fantastic. Good band. Is
Really
the
fucking
takeaway
good.
of this episode.
The takeaway of this episode, I will say I really enjoyed talking about all of this episode.
So did I, man. This was a lot of fun.
It's been really, really, really good.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that we were able to gush about this band that honestly you kind of got me into, which is
Yeah.
also why I hold such sentimental value
Aw.
to this band,
How
because
sweet, man.
I feel like it's kind of part of the reason why we bonded, as we kind of talked about all the stuff we loved about it. So yeah.
Hell yeah, man. I'm glad to hear.
Logan, do you have any takeaways from this?
I gotta say, definitely gotta give Ween and their albums a listen.
Especially 12 Golden Country Greats.
You'd
You might
love
actually
it.
dig
Exactly.
it.
You'd love it.
I'm definitely when you guys release this episode, I'm definitely gonna try to I'm definitely gonna listen to it and then try
Hell
to
yeah.
listen to them in the order that you guys were
Oh, hell
recommending
yeah.
and see which ones. I feel like the songs. I feel like one of the main things that stood out to me were just the titles of the songs
like
and everything.
Flies on My Dick.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, Touch My Tutor.
So that one in particular, that one was the first one I started chuckling at.
It's hard to not chuckle at these titles.
Yeah, Ween is just a very humorous band. There's so much charm in terms of like their concepts and just like their personality. You get a sense of that through like every album. You'll just have like a good time no matter what you listen to.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that was one of the first things that drew me in.
Hell yeah.
If you have an order of album listening that you disagree
yeah.
with, by the way, please tell us.
Honestly, yeah, question of the week. What is your personal Ween album listening order? We would love to hear and we'd love to discuss.
We really, really would. Because this is a band where I feel like everybody loves them, but for different reasons and for
Exactly.
different points in time.
Yeah, like there's
fe-
people that like adore the Brown Trio but don't like go past that. There's stuff that like there's people that love like the polished stuff but don't go past that. There's like the La Cucaracha freaks that I don't get, but you
Yeah,
know.
same here, but it's okay. But we love you anyway, and we're happy to be part of the same community as Ween lovers.
Exactly.
But yeah, AJ, I think that's gonna end this episode.
I agree. This was a lot of fun, man. This was a great time.
It's a lot of fun. For future Matt, it's not gonna be fun for him.
That's true. This is gonna be a long episode as well.
But at the same time, fuck him. Who cares?
Yeah, it's Future Matt's problem.
He has to edit everything on the fly the night before.
This
and
is
that's all that
present
matters.
drunk Matt and AJ and sober Logan, so that's not our fault.
It's not our fault.
Well, Matt, I guess without further ado,
This has been another episode of
Family Meeting.
As always, thank you for listening. My name is Drunk Matt Glass,
I'm drunk AJ Tenari.
And I'm sober Logan.
who's been very, very helpful and very nice to us this
And
entire
patient.
time. And patient. But we will see you next week. Peace!